I love the part where it says, "What is mine shall know my face." It's almost like saying, I accept the fact that when I came here, certain things were meant for me and they will be mine, or they will be with me, or they'll be part of my experience.
That's some baller Breaking Bad, I'm the one who knocks shit. And what is mine shall know my face.
It's almost like a threat, isn't
That's
it?
some ghetto shit right there.
No,
that's
like
some...
hardcore, man. Like, I feel that in my soul, man.
And what is mine? That's a good line.
What is mine shall know my face. That's powerful.
Oh, you know what? It's a lot it's a lot more impactful when you're not reading it.
You gotta pay more attention. And we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 Guys, 1 Bottle, episode number 3. If you missed the first 2 episodes, don't watch them. It's embarrassing. There'll be a link at the end of the video today, or you can just go into our stream and find them. Okay, so today's subject, it would help if I had
The book.
You want to talk a little bit?
Yeah, I'm just gonna pour drinks on camera. Be a good influence for my little nephews and nieces out there in the world.
Right. So today's subject is love. Love.
LUV.
We're gonna be reviewing. We're not reviewing. We're gonna use this as material. The Science of Winning Love. The Science of Winning Love is by Kevin L. Michel, I think it is.
Let me see.
Bomb.
Kevin L. Michel, yeah.
He's actually channeling a guy called Wallace D. Wattles. Channeling's a subject that we're going to talk about in another show completely. But basically, Wallace D. Wattles was a author in the early part of the century, last century, early 1900s. He wrote books such as The Science of Getting Rich, The Science of Being Great, The Science of Being Well.
Yeah.
And this guy said that this was like the missing link, the science of winning love. It kind of fills the space, the void of all man's common problems.
Okay. So are they very closely interlinked between...
Interrelinked?
Yes.
Sure. So what's your point of view on love? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
No more. Love, I mean, alright. You can go pretty much 2 different extremes on it. You can go to...
I wish you would.
So one extreme of it is basically the biological kind of pair bonding. In order for humans to survive, in order for any animals to survive... Actually, that's a lie. Not all animals, but... In order for humans to survive, or increase our chances of survival, if we became particularly attached to another human being, we raised a family, our offspring were more likely, or are more likely, to survive. So that is a relatively common kind of outlook on it. You know, people also see it as love and attachment as being the same thing. Yes, the robes are banging. I'm wondering where mine are actually, but you know, I can't have them all. So people usually mix up attachment and love, and I think that's really what it stems from. So it's like if you were attached to another human being who was raising children with you, your children are more likely to survive. So that's a biological kind of physical, deterministic kind of, that's why we experience love, is just to increase this chance, this, you know, of our genetic offspring surviving. On the flip side, you could say the other end of the spectrum is this whole kind of perspective of love being about vibration, love being an energy, love being a state of mind. And it can, if it's not tied down, it can sound really airy-fairy, but, you know, there's this other side where people say love is a vibration, love is what draws, I don't know, it's quite complex, but that's the short and sweet of it. Cheers.
I'll drink to that. Oh.
Right.
Yeah, so I see love as an emotion, or is thought of as an emotion, emotional response. Like you said about energy, etc. I see love as being a human state of complete alignment with who you are and what you're being and where you're going.
Okay.
When you enjoy something, when you love something, it means that is who you are and that's what you came to do, that's what you came to be.
Sure.
So in that respect, love can cover everything from the physical partner, as you were talking about in your first expression, all the way down to I love donuts.
Yeah, well, this is a good thing you've touched upon actually right at the outset, because the context of it makes all the difference. It's basically, you could say love for another human being, love for a pet animal, or another
love for yourself.
Self-love.
Self-love.
It's like Woody Allen once said, paraphrasing, but he said, you need to be able to love yourself before you can love anyone else. Just wash your hands in between. So there's self-love, and then there's love for activities or love for objects, So yeah, you touched on something quite big there, because depending on what the object is, it makes all the difference in terms of how you perceive it, or Some people find it really easy to love their car, love their house, love their games console, but they find it difficult to love another human being. So, love's many shapes and sizes.
Alright, so if you're watching this, what's your definition of love? Leave a comment down below and tell us what you think of ours. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the book. Mm-hmm. I've already read the book. I've highlighted certain things in it as well. Like I said to you, I'll raise the subject of the chapter,
mm-hmm.
and then just cover the quotes, and then we'll stop. Without a spacebar pause this time, we'll stop as and when we feel the need to.
Cool.
So in the opening preface, or preface, depending on where you're from in the world, first thing I've got highlighted is, we need simplicity when pursuing any great ambition.
Okay.
I think simplicity is a rule of life. And I believe that even in the most complex of activities or ambitions, it comes down to many simplicities put together.
Yeah.
And if you can break something from a massive chunk into bite-sized pieces, everything becomes a lot more doable, achievable,
digestible.
Digestible. He said it. Okay, the science of winning love. This must be the introduction chapter now. Love is at the heart of all motivation and all creation. Do you agree or disagree?
Love is at the heart of all creation and what?
Motivation and creation.
Not really. If you're going to go a long way about it...
Shots fired, shots fired. I'm still going to do the squirt for you.
That's disgusting. There's a time and a place, Andy. I don't fully agree with that. I think if you could do mental gymnastics, you could do kind of gymnastics with your logic and reasoning to make sense of it in a way that, okay, yeah, that's the case, but it's a real stretch. It's a real push. Do you know what I mean? You're thinking of deep throating that mic, aren't you? See, you're going to have to edit this out afterwards just because you're... Anyways. I can see the way you're looking at it. Shit. So. Okay. Sure. We should have done the water thing.
Sure.
So you could say, like, there's some actions and there's some motivations which are, in a very crass way of just saying negative. If I have the motivation that comes out of envy or spite or hatred or animosity, there's motivations in there which have nothing to do with love. You could say, if you wanted to do the mental gymnastics of it, that there's a, like, if I wanted to go out and stab someone or, commit harm to someone, that motivation isn't powered by love. That's not coming from a loving place. Now, you could say, if you wanted to tie it back into love, you could say someone grew up without love in their life that they needed to make them stable and relatively complete feeling person. And that lack of love, that deprivation of love, caused the opposite to occur in their lives. You can tie everything back to it, but to the way that it's put there, nah. I think
maybe it's because it's a quote out of context.
Maybe it's out of context. Yeah.
Because again, you could state that if love is the thing that we're talking about, then the lack of love is also the thing we're talking about, and the lack of love, i.e., hate, is something that was also a motivation.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying about the mental gymnastics. The way it's phrased there, maybe it's out of context.
I say it's just a quote, yeah.
Yeah, it's saying that love is at the root of all, but to say that is incorrect, in my humble opinion. Because you have, like you're saying, the lack of love.
Again, this is looking at the emotional scale.
Yeah.
From love all the way to fear.
Yeah, but have you seen Donnie Darko?
Of course I've seen Donnie Darko.
Do you remember that bit where Jake Gyllenhaal is asked by his school teacher, they're in a classroom and Seth Rogen's in it. Seth Rogen was in Donnie Darko. Who would have, as a teenager, mad.
It all makes sense.
It's such a sick movie, though.
It all makes sense.
Brilliant movie. But you've got this scale behind the teacher, and people are given a scenario, and they have to place the scenario on this love to hate scale.
Mm-hmm.
And the point is Donnie Darko finds it difficult because he's saying that not everything fits so neatly into these little boxes that you want to compartmentalize them into. There's a lot of
2 sips.
Yeah, I'm hungover, by the way. This is round 2 for me, so if I start yawning or passing out before your very eyes, it was his fault. He made me do this. The door's locked. I can't escape. I told him not to wear the robes. Bad memories and shit, but he still made it happen. So Donnie says to the teacher, he goes, you can't just compartmentalize everything so easily. And there's a whole spectrum of greys. There's a whole spectrum of complexity that you're trying to strip out and oversimplify things to by using the scale of the spectrum. So yeah, I know I just launched off on one there, but that always stuck in my head. I think that people really want that. We talk about simplicity, right? Simplicity is key to approaching any big task or breaking down any system into smaller components to make sense of it. Because you can't tackle something, you can't climb a mountain in one jump. You have to take it a step at a time.
Depends on who you are.
Or how high you can jump. But the point is generally you take a mountain a step at a time. So that makes sense in that respect. But in terms of emotional complexity, I don't think it's so easy to necessarily... But that's, again, my opinion on it. But should we continue? Or do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was just thinking, even when we talk about hate, there is still a motivation behind the hate, which I think to the individual relates to that passion of love. As in, for example, I'm avenging somebody, whether it's themselves or their family or somebody else, and they're doing it because of that love for that thing, which then stems back to hate of the person that inflicted that circumstance upon them. But I still think that arguably the root cause in that essence is still love. As in, there's a reason why, again, when you get up in the morning, there's things you have to do. You don't love it, you have to do them. Mm. And again, I'm talking in generalities here of the world that we seem to live in and see all around us. Mm. However, when we're really in alignment with who we are and what we want to do, whether that's our careers, whether that's our love life, whether that's our families, we technically always kind of do well in the things that we love the most.
Sure.
And therefore we are most motivated to go down that path to do those things.
Sure.
And therefore we create much more in alignment with who we are, but much more fuller when we're in that state. So I think, again, there's some truth behind the statement.
Yeah. I think it captures a select number of humans on the planet. Humans. It captures a select number of humans on the planet. I think that you're relating your own experience. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Careful.
We already shots fired like 5 minutes into it. I'm not gonna. If I wanted to mow you down, I'd mow you down, bro. By disagreeing with everything, I could really devil's advocate. Sure. But that's not the point. The point is this: I'm not disagreeing with you, but I would say that you're talking about a very select number of people on this planet who are self-actualizing and doing what they love on a daily basis. But it always in my head is that how do you help those or assist those who are not in that situation to get to where you're describing?
Okay, so let me throw another spanner in the works then. So give me an example of something that, like you say, isn't necessarily motivated by love.
No, I'm not talking about that.
No, just give me something. Like say that I'm talking obviously.
But you could tie anything back. But I'm saying in terms of I'm talking about doing what you love.
No.
And
I was using that as an aspect of it. Yeah, but however, like for example, you go to work, not for most people, not because you want to, but because you have to go and earn some money and you're responsible and there's people waiting for you or there's a boss, relying on you and all this kind of stuff.
Or you got dependents, you got kids, you got a wife, you got
exactly.
Or a husband.
So the love isn't there, and the motivation isn't there for the job, but the love around that creation is in the outcome of that.
Yeah.
So if I get through today and I can come home and I'm not in trouble with anyone and I don't need to pay anybody anything I've got money in my pocket and all this kind of stuff, then that essence of love is in that equation as well.
I agree.
If I see a further result in the actions I'm doing, again, if you look back at somebody revenging somebody else, they feel like they will feel better in the having or doing that action. And that's what they're looking at. That's what they're projecting forward to. Now, they might not understand the consequences of the action before they've taken it. However, in that moment, they're looking forward to, I will feel better if I do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that can stem back to love.
Well, if you think...
I love that idea.
If you think of the better and worse situation in terms of any context, everybody will always want something better for themselves, or want to feel better about themselves, or want a better outcome. So it can be short-term pain for long-term gain. You go work an 8-hour shift at a job you hate so you can put food on the table for your family and be a provider, or have certain luxuries. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to point out as well, the line that came after that statement about what we just spoke about, and also the main subject of this talk today, is that this is most specifically a guide for winning passionate love, although its usefulness and application could indeed be broader. So again, this is actually, we're talking about relationships overall here, and we're talking about
so not your pet, not your dog or cat, or not your Ferrari.
Yeah, we're talking about your significant other that either you want to win, or you
your
want to hold on to, or
okay.
You want to give back to.
Your SO.
Okay, so we move on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Next one. You want to keep the rush of dopamine flowing in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to explain what dopamine is, just so people understand? That don't know what dopamine is. I'm not saying you don't, but...
It's a chemical neurotransmitter.
It's a hormone. That does what?
It basically triggers sensations of pleasure in the brain and in the... Pleasure. Oh, I know.
Don't start.
So it triggers pleasure in the brain and then in the body.
That makes you want more.
Or the body and then the brain, even. But then it's,
The reaction is it makes you want more of what that is, right? As in you want more of that feeling, yeah?
Yeah.
So
we're
again,
hardwired to, like, whether it's
pleasure.
food, sleep, sex. There's certain bodily functions. And there's certain things, even, higher pleasures, like they say art and music. Meditation.
Peacefulness. Oneness.
Meditation isn't necessarily pleasurable.
Not for you, but for some people. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe.
Again, alignment. I'm talking about the alignment as well.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So I agree with that. So it's what's kept us alive all these years. It's what has motivated us as a species to be drawn to certain things which help us survive. So if you feel good when you eat, if you eat, like, for example, sugar and salt and fat were hard to come by when we were cavemen and cavewomen. So if you came across that in the wilderness...
That's a whole other subject. Cavemen and cavewomen. I don't think I came from that, but carry on.
Came from a monkey, bro. I can see the similarity just looking at it.
I don't have the rhesus gene, so I can't have come from a monkey.
So, back in caveman and cavewoman times, sugar, salt, and fat were very hard to come by. So our brains hardwired us that's a necessary part of our nutritional diet. Just depends on quantity, but you need that to live. You need that to be healthy. So because it was so hard to come by, our brains were wired in a way, have been wired over time, reinforced, that every time you get it, you want to have as much of it as you can, because you don't know when you're next going to see it. It might be weeks, months until you get your next feast of something with salt, sugar, or fat in it. So the way we're wired is to seek this out because it's rare in nature at the time. The whole dopamine thing, it plays into a lot of different things, which previous systems, it's like we're enlightened beings in prehistoric bodies. It's like our bodies and our mental physiological makeup and wiring doesn't really suit the modern world we live in, which is why they talk about, like, mind hacks. They talk about mobile apps like Facebook and Twitter and Netflix, basically mastering the feedback loop of how can we get this person to spend more time on Facebook, how do we keep it in their minds, how do we keep them actively engaged in it. And they've just mastered and perfected all these techniques to keep people hooked,
addicted.
Yeah, well, if you look at video games, the psychology behind video games. I mean, I love video games. I'm a big gamer myself. But the way that the industry's evolved is to basically keep pressing this. Have you heard of the Skinner box before? So they basically put a rat in a box, and there's a lever, and every time they press the lever, they get a pellet of food.
Is Skinner the psychologist?
Yes.
Okay, then yes. When you said Skinner box, my head went somewhere else completely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
again,
you're
it's
familiar
that-
with this.
Yeah, it's the idea of like say
You can Google it if you need to.
something.
It's fascinating stuff. But if you play Fortnite or play certain video games, or,
It's
you know,
action reward,
or
action
Facebook,
reward, isn't
Twitter, yeah. And then if you break the link between them, so if you get a direct one press gives you one pellet of food.
Yeah, you
then-
learn.
Yeah, exactly. The rat learns, and then it will keep pressing it until loads appear, and then it will just have a stockpile of food, and it's just chilling because it can eat it at its own pace, right? If you do it so it's every three presses, then it drops a pellet of food. Then you know the mouse starts frantically kind of tapping on it, trying to get as much as possible. If you do it at random intervals, the mouse will press
gets
that button,
confused.
and it really screws up the mouse's psychology.
Because it doesn't understand.
And that's how gambling works.
Yeah.
You know, or video games, when you get these random loot boxes. So there's in video games, you can pay real money to buy a virtual item, which is, imagine like a box with a question mark on it, and it's a mystery item in there. It's essentially gambling for children. And when you open that box, you get an item, and it could be something really great, it could be something really crap. But it got to the point where
It's like the idea of the not pairs, the FIFA, where you buy players or whatever, but you buy cards and then it shows you random who you get.
you can't just straight up buy that item or buy that
so
player.
you keep going looking for that reward of getting
just-
the best,
yeah.
wherever you can
Come
get
on,
in
just
that
give me the player
situation,
that
yeah.
I want, or give me one of the top ranking players. Stop giving me 7 out of 10s. Give me a 10 out of 10 or whatever it is.
So relating back to the dopamine,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
exactly
what we're talking about
linked.
here is we're talking about keeping that rush of dopamine flowing in the brain of the other person in order to win their affection.
Okay.
Now I'm saying, it's kind of like a question, but like I think that's the way I'm seeing it. That's the way I'm understanding it. You want to keep the rush of dopamine flowing in the brain.
For whose brain?
Well, I'm assuming, again, without reading everything around it, I'm assuming talking about yourself, for obviously you to feel that elation, but more so in the person that you're trying to win or hold the affection of, in order to sustain that feeling, to hold that emotion or that state in continuity, continuum.
Yeah.
That word.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we carry on?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, love too must have a cause. So again, I like this because it's going to go into now more kind of deeper stuff that we can go into. Obviously, everything has a cause. We know that, but I think it's going to start talking about now, what is the cause of love? So they state that there is 4 types of love. I think this comes from Greek. Yeah, not Greek mythology, Greek philosophy. I've only highlighted one here, but there's agape love, which is an unconditional, everlasting or spiritual love. There is philia, storge, but the one I've highlighted is eros. Eros is passionate love, and it didn't always exist. It came into existence at some more or less definite period. So again, talking about this rush of dopamine, it's almost like we spark that idea of passionate love in the other person that suddenly makes them succumb to us in all their nature and way. They basically give themselves up to the other person.
Yeah, I know
saying,
about
you
that.
know what, I want this, and I'll do whatever it takes to get this because of the way it makes me feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, do we
Yeah,
both
yeah.
agree on that?
Yeah.
So again, the Greeks called it eros, that kind of love. But they're talking about 4 kinds of love. So we were talking about the whole idea of love for friendship, love for objects, love for family, etc. So we are agreeing that love on its own has a spectrum, and that scale is kind of in question of what we talk about or the direction we go in as we discuss.
It's the context, it's the target, it's the object of love. Is if the object of love is another entity,
Love.
whether it's yourself, whether it's an object, whether it's another entity, whether it's a cat, dog, sibling,
Cat.
family member, partner.
Partner.
But so what are we talking
Mate.
about today then? What are we honing in on this?
I think we're talking about...
Are we going over the 4 different types?
No,
or
no,
are we
no,
just
no, no.
focusing
This
on
is,
eros?
remember, this is going into
Eros.
winning love. Yeah, winning love.
Eros.
Winning love. So again, it'll be your significant partner, your significant other. So again, it says here, which kind of answers your question. If we can find the root cause of love and apply it, we shall be able to produce love. So it's the idea of if you understand what love is and how it's caused, you can actually create that in your reality in the other person.
But Andy, what is love?
Baby, don't hurt me.
Every time, man.
I know we have to drink. Every time that happens now we have to drink. Because otherwise we're just going to keep doing it every time we say that. Okay. Causality is the first chapter.
Okay.
Do you know what causality means?
Yes.
It was in the Matrix, wasn't it? Didn't the Merovingi talk about this?
Merovingi.
Merovingi. In Matrix Part 2, Causality, cause and effect. And he's given the lady the cake and he gives her an orgasm. And she has to get up and leave the restaurant to go to the restroom.
I do not remember that bit.
Really?
I just remember the really...
He's the French guy that they go and see who's got the key maker. And he talks about causality.
And he's like the rich dude who's got a whole battalion of people.
Yes.
He's got a really hot wife.
Yes.
the brunette, and he's got these.
Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, damn son.
Google it.
In her day,
In her
even
day.
now, but in her day. And you got the albino dreaded guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Away from the Matrix. He spoke about causality. So causality is every reaction has a reaction,
Yeah.
right? And
But causality preceded the Matrix, but yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. So there are four topics that are raised here, and I just highlighted the key words, so we can talk about each one without me going into them here.
Cool.
So the first root of causality is proximity. So proximity is the idea of the closer you are to the object of your desire, the easier it is for you to impact or create love with that.
I love that. I love the idea of the proximity because, you know, it brings to mind, you got a school kid who wants to be close to the object of the desire, so they join up, like, you know, maybe a guy wants to, he's got a crush on a girl, so he joins the drama class or joins a particular sport or something, just to be in, you know,
In proximity
around
with,
her,
with the person.
Or you think in a club where there's a girl who wants to be spoken to by a guy, but she's in it's generally a norm in Western society or in most societies that girls don't necessarily approach the guy. That's a big cookie. I'm cool for now. Thank you though. So a girl will kind of hover in proximity around the object of her desire. You're loving that cookie, aren't you? A girl will hover in proximity around the object of her desire, but she won't necessarily talk to him, but she'll stand in his line of sight or around him just so he can notice her and he can make the first move. Which I just find really entertaining. Like you need David Attenborough narrating it, and yeah.
Or Snoop Dogg. But again, the idea is that, for example,
Snoop Dogg doing Planet Earth.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking
money
about.
in that idea.
Yeah.
Go on, let's crack on.
If we think about at an extreme, if we think about, I'm in love with a celebrity, the proximity between.
I'm in love with the Sorry.
I thought you were going to say I'm in love with a stripper.
I'm in love with the
T-Pain.
Coco.
But you had to go there. Okay, so. Okay.
Sure.
The celebrity is so far away out of your proximity
Yeah.
that the idea that you're even going to get with them or even get close to them is so small that you probably will never have the opportunity to create
Don't say that.
love.
Man's got dreams, yeah?
With that person. See, I'm talking about you. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're talking about somebody that, let's say, like you say, you're in a club, it might be in your hometown. London's a big place. And you've both gone into the central part of London to go clubbing, and you met this girl or you met this guy, whichever way you swing. And then you both go home. You exchange numbers. But then what you find out is that she actually came down from Manchester for that night of clubbing.
Yeah.
And you actually live in South London.
Yeah.
And your actual proximity is so far away that, long distance relationships can work, but they're very tough.
Yeah.
And the proximity idea is that, but if the girl lived next door to you or down the road from you, you can spend a lot more time with that person because of the proximity. Or if you work with the person, danger. If you work with the person, or again, if they're in your family, don't go there. It happens.
You just took it some dark place, man.
What I'm saying is that the closer they are in proximity, the easier it is to spend time with people to actually fall in love with them.
Yeah. Well, all that creepy shit aside that you just said.
My bad.
It's cool. Yeah, you're right. In terms, you need proximity in order to sustain a relationship. You know, people do long distance with Skype calls and
to sustain a relationship is different, though. But to start a relationship
calls.
in the first place,
you need. No, but then actually, what about people who are?
Oh, here we go.
Meet online.
Let's talk about your experience.
I'm not on that.
I
can't knock people who are.
Let's just say that. I
can't knock it. It's just.
What I'm saying is, he had an experience of a long distance relationship.
No, but I didn't meet them online though.
I know, but I'm saying no. But doesn't.
But this is the thing. You're saying that you need to have proximity in the first place in order for a love or a relationship to build up. But people can communicate from afar and then make plans to meet up.
It's more difficult, right?
There's two ways. Two examples, two scenarios. On the one hand, you've got people who've never met before, meet up in a club in central London. Turns out one of them lives in South London, the other lives out in Manchester, and it was a chance encounter where they ended up connecting very passionately, very vividly, and then they go separate ways, but they still want to make it work, but the distance is really difficult to overcome. And that's one way around it. Well, that's one scenario. The other scenario is people who meet online on a forum as pen pals.
Forum.
They go attached to each other. and they talk for weeks, months. They feel a connection, even though they've never met physically. Modern technology, you've got Skype calls, video calling, whatever it is. So it's almost like the reversal of people who've never met in their lives, who end up making plans to meet in real life, spend more time in real life, and then it either, it works out, it doesn't work out. But it's interesting how technology has an impact on the idea of proximity. Because previously, before as well, you say proximity, not everyone can take a train an hour and a half from however long it is from out of London, or from one place to another just for a club night. You know what I mean? It'd be you're clubbing in your local area, and that's about it, because transport links and infrastructure don't really support that. But technology.
But 9 times out of 10 though, when you hear about people's relationships, I'm not talking about yourself now or myself, but when you hear about people's relationships, it's normally people that are in their proximity that end up getting together.
Yeah, you have to meet them somehow.
What I'm saying is that they normally are quite close, and they normally get to meet up on a regular basis, and they normally get to fornicate. They normally get to do things that couples do, and that prolongs or accelerates the relationship. I'm not saying that obviously there's always going to be an exception to the rules, even though these aren't rules. There's always going to be exceptions. But 9 times out of 10, people that get together are generally in the same proximity, and that's how it works.
It helps.
It definitely helps.
Cool.
Happy with proximity?
Yeah.
And it makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's a factor.
Again, you can fall, you can fall in love with a celebrity who isn't even in your country. But my point being is that to have a relationship that is actually sustainable,
it's like
long-term.
If there's someone in a long-term relationship and there's someone around them in proximity who they find attractive, that's a major threat to a long-distance relationship. Because having something tangible, having a human connection and interaction, a real one, it takes precedence over something that's 10,000 miles away over several oceans, and you talk for 2 hours at night on phone calls and web calls, just want to keep the connection alive. It gets difficult, but yeah, proximity helps.
Number 2, similarity.
So they say like attracts like, and they also say opposites attract.
Okay, opposites attract. We spoke about this in universal law.
Yeah.
I think that is not true. As in, we said. I think in the last episode we said, except for magnets, north and south, in this energetic world that we live in, what comes to you is normally what you're reflecting into the world. You don't generally get what you don't think about, or what you don't focus on, or what you don't. And again, this is another subject. We spoke about some of it in the other episodes. Similarity, you've got to have some things in common in order to have a connection in the first place. If everything about you and the other person was complete polar opposites, it's going to be very hard to find a connection, a deep, soulful connection.
Okay,
with
that's
the
the distinction that you're making. There is a deep, soulful connection, which is where I agree.
Yeah, of course.
If you're just saying a connection,
no. I'm going. If we're going to do this, we're going to do this properly, right? I'm going all in.
Yeah.
A deep, soulful connection. Again, you'll have your, like, say, opposites attract. You'll have your differences, which you get curious about. Oh, I like this person because that part of them is them. This part of me is me, and we have the respect of the difference in opinion. But the basis of that relationship is on those commonalities of the proximity, that they have these. We like the same music, we like the same food, we like the same people, we like going to the same places, we have the same goals in life, and that makes it work really, really well.
And then you find out at the end they were the same person all along.
What, looking in the mirror? What are you talking about? Do we agree or disagree on similarity? So, because you said opposites attract.
Kind of. I think
on a deep level.
On a deep level.
On a deep level.
And again.
Deep. Very white.
That was like Kermit the Frog with bronchitis.
Deep.
How deep can you go?
How deep is your love?
Right.
No. Every time we sing, we have to drink.
Oh. We'll make us sing more. I'll leave it to that. What are we talking about? Remind me.
Should we move on?
No.
We were saying
there's something interesting there. There was something I found I wanted to explore.
We're agreeing on similarity.
Similarity. My 2 cents before we move on is shared values.
Sure.
On a long-term, deep, meaningful, soulful connection.
Well, straight away. As in, tell me.
Yeah. So shared interests help. Shared values are important,
Mm-hmm.
and it's probably more vital than shared interests. Some you might like the bloke. Let's be really stereotypical here and crass. The guy might like football and the girl might like, theatre and opera. Or vice versa. Yeah. But the point is, you can have completely divergent interests, but share a common value system.
Yeah.
And if you feel like the same things that you want out, you want similar things out of life, or you see the world or scenarios in similar ways,
Again, we're talking about priorities, aren't we?
Yeah, but then
priorities of the connection of the similarities.
Priorities of values over interests.
Yeah, as in that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
as in
values value comes first, because you can meet someone. I might be a metalhead, and I'll meet a girl who's a metalhead, and we hit it off just because we can talk about bands, we can talk about our favorite guitarists, and blah blah blah.
That's interesting. Then you said talk.
Then if she ends up having a completely different value system to me, where she thinks it's unacceptable to do certain things and it's acceptable to do other things,
she'll have an affair with your friend,
and I contradict. Don't hype yourself up, man.
Not me, bro. I'm not interested.
All right.
I know where you've been. I don't want to touch that.
Shit. Sloppy seconds. And anyways, let's move on.
Sloppy seconds.
Yeah, let's leave it on that note.
Number 3. I think this is an obvious one. As in physical attractiveness.
Yeah.
So again, in causality, the reasons why people fall in love, or how we attract love, physical attraction. Now, my point of view is that men are put more onus on physical attraction than women.
Yes.
Even though women are obviously attracted to certain aspects and qualities in the way a man looks or carries himself, etc.
Yeah.
But men put a higher focus on it. And I don't know about you, but I can see that. I think it's Instagram that's pulled this out, but I can see this in the way women are now, advertising is the wrong word.
Objectified.
No. I'm talking about the way they present themselves. Because
you can objectify yourself.
Wow, I've never thought about it like that before.
Yeah.
Mind blown. We're not putting it at the start.
It's been done.
On Instagram, if you go through Instagram and you see a lot of the girls that are basically just putting themselves onto Instagram.
Yeah.
And again, I might be generalizing. It might just be what I look at on my Instagram profile, even though I'm not on it a lot.
Don't lie to yourself.
What I'm saying is that a lot of girls online is about fashion. They will do their makeup, they'll do their hair, etc. Because they understand that if they look good, they feel good.
They know what men want.
But yeah, ultimately...
Or other women if they swing that way.
I don't even think... Because again, a lot of them could be in relationships already. But Instagram and those kind of platforms is about obviously having followers. So again, to attract attention, you have to present yourself in a certain way. Yeah. So again, physical attractiveness brings you more attention. Yeah. Is what I'm kind of going towards. Yeah. And yeah, in a relationship, you can't. Yeah, I've generalized, but you can't go out looking like a scruff, expecting to pick up the hottest person that's out there.
If you're in a relationship.
No. Outside of your relationship.
What, like a bit on the side?
A bit on the side. Okay. Yeah. Bruv.
Look, it's cool. I know you're talking from experience.
First relationship. Right. Let's talk about first relationship. You've never been in a relationship before. I'm not talking about myself. I'm just digging the hole. Digging the hole.
Talking about you.
Rest in peace, girl. I hate it when this happens because now it's like my train just wrecked.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, put it back on the tracks, man. Put it back on the tracks.
You derailed it yourself, man.
Physical attractiveness is really important because you can't go out there and again, like attracts like. So you can't go out there expecting to attract something that is your eye of attraction, your eye of, what's it called? Your object of affection.
Yeah.
Object of affection when you don't reflect what they look like and how they present themselves. So again, men and women will dress up every day looking the best they can to present themselves to the world that they're in order to not only make them appealing to the opposite of sex, or to the same sex, depending on which way you swing, but to also make them more appealing in, let's say, business decisions. Yeah. So, for example, you can't go to work wearing a show suit when everyone else is wearing suit and ties because you won't be taken seriously. And that's simply because of the clothes you wear, which, again, affects your attractiveness to the situation that you're in.
This is a tangent here because we're actually going into...
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
No, it's cool.
It's not because we don't want to go down that tangent is what I'm saying.
Cool. To close off the tangent,
okay,
we can leave it on the note that it's interesting that people need to present an image, an idea of themselves. They need to communicate that. You communicate the idea of who you are by how you speak, how you dress, how you present yourself. All of these things give an image or representation of you. you know, a fashion statement is a choice. Is a choice, and it's a statement about your personality and who you are as a person. And that's how it works. Same thing as in a business scenario. If you want to be taken seriously, you're working in a company full of suits and ties, you have to look the part in order to be taken seriously. And yeah, people pick up on those things. If you go to a club and you're dressed a certain way as opposed to another way, people respond accordingly. You know, and it's, a lot of it is the image that you present and you project. So that ties back into this whole social media where people are presenting very airbrushed images of themselves, not just as in physically airbrushed, but the fact that you only usually post positive things on social media, and you airbrush the negative out of your life.
You selectively choose.
Yeah.
To show
and
the
that's
best.
really messing people up in the head, because all they see is people being happy and they feel miserable, and they think, why am I so...
Or seeing the best in someone's life when actually their life is actually full of shit.
Yeah.
But they're only showing you and presenting to you what is attractive to the world.
Yeah.
Or what they believe is acceptable to society on a higher status level or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah. It's like when I was younger, there was a saying, it says, never compare yourself to other people who you think are better than you, because you don't know what messed up stuff they're going through. So even when you meet someone who you maybe idolize or think is perfect or doing really well, you have no idea what they're really going through or whether they're truly happy. And, you know, obviously you would want them to be happy, whoever they are, you know, just as a general kind of human goodwill, but you really don't, you never know.
So physical attractiveness.
It's key.
Would you rate yourself out of 10, bruv?
I don't rate myself.
Oh shit, that's deep.
I rate my others.
I don't rate myself, so you're a 0.
Ha! That's not... Oh, burn.
Shots fired, shots fired. What would you rate yourself?
I don't assign a number to myself.
Okay, I'm giving you a scale of 1 to 10. What would you rate yourself?
What do you rate yourself?
This is embarrassing. I'm a 10. I'm a 10, period.
Cool.
What would you rate yourself?
I'm off the scale, man.
See, there is no scale. Moving on. Ping! Okay.
Teflon Don.
Finally, number 4 in causality is reciprocity.
I can't get over the rate yourself thing, man. You hurt me, man. Shit.
We'll stop playing footsie with me under the table. I might give you...
You're enjoying it, though.
Score.
You didn't ask me to stop until now.
Reciprocity.
What about it?
You're a 9.5, bro. Reciprocity. No, it's number 4. Number 4. So what do you make of reciprocity?
It's a word.
So do you want me to explain?
I know what it is, but
okay, then,
I'll let you...
As in, no, what I'm saying is let's talk about it in causality, in the respect of causality and winning love.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
It's a good indicator of a healthy relationship.
In what respect? And we're talking about before relationship, yeah? So we're talking about attracting.
Okay.
Or winning. We're talking about winning love, remember? That's the essence of this book, is winning love.
Okay.
So in that respect...
Okay, so if we put relationships aside, it's not even that far ahead. It's first meeting, first connection.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, okay, so I would have a lot of respect, and I can imagine there's a lot of people who would hate on me for saying this, but it's my own take on it, my personal humble opinion on it, is that I would have a lot more respect. I do have a lot of respect for a woman who buys the second drink after I buy the first, or vice versa. And it's a sense of reciprocation in the sense that, like, if I go on a date, first date, I would like to...
That's a hint.
...pay the bill, but I would like her to at least pretend that she's going to pay the bill.
Yeah.
I don't want her just to put her hands
As
up and be like, yeah, cool.
Like there's some idea
I want her to be like, you know...
We're even.
Yeah, like, let's at least go halves. You know, let me help pay. Yeah, and you say, no, babe, it's cool.
And the effort is kind of 50-50.
But you appreciate that
100%,
intention behind
100%.
it. Like, hey, look, at least she's making the effort. At least it's not just a free meal to her, but she's at least making the symbolic gesture of, hey, look, at least let me cover my bit.
Yeah.
I'm not here about a free meal.
Or let me
I'm
get
here
it this time.
Yeah, let me get it this time, you get the next one, which is what I love to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually when a girl says, you know, oh no, let's at least go halves, I go, look, I'll buy it this time, you can get it the second time. And then it's like, you're both invested
it's
in
also
it.
again like you're playing that, not playing the game, but it's also like you're playing that whole kind of like, okay, then I will see you again.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because now I owe you. Not owe you, but you know, it's like, okay, to be fair.
You owe me a meal. No, but it's a sense of you're both investing in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're both giving enough.
I think what this is talking about again is even simpler than that. Because again, you're talking about on a, let's call it, I don't want to call it a monetary scale, but like a...
What kind of reciprocation? An emotional reciprocation?
I think they're talking about simplicity, as simple as if you like somebody, they're more likely to like you back. And if you love somebody, they're more likely to love you back.
Wait, that's quite complex for me. Can you say it again, but slower?
Pour me a drink. Okay, so the idea is
true,
that, for example, and again, there's lots of people that have been in this situation. you might not even look at somebody with the idea of, I love this person, period.
Or find them attractive. Let's do with attractiveness, because love is a very strong emotion to come straight into it with.
Okay, yeah.
It's a very low level of love. Like it's
I think,
like
yeah, you're right.
entry level attraction.
Because again, people can fall in love with a person rather than how they look. I think that's what it comes down to in this example.
Okay.
But then when you actually come into proximity with a person and you realize there's quite a lot of similarity with that person.
Or just their energy or just their vibe. They can be really bubbly, really energetic, really positive. If they make
they
you
make the
feel
other person
good,
feel better, yeah.
yeah. If they make the people around them feel good,
Yeah.
and people want to spend more time with them,
Yeah.
you know, because it's you're giving that vibe off, that energy off, a positive vibe. Instead of saying, oh, you know, you clearly made the effort today. It's like, hey man, you really put the effort in today. How do you know? Shit, man, how much time do you spend in front of the mirror? Because you $1 million.
Effort.
Yeah, it's appreciation.
I appreciate
You
you.
the
You're
best.
loyal.
You the best. Buy your mama a house. Buy your dogs houses. Buy your stepchildren. Anyways.
Sure. When you start to express, when that person then starts to feel loved by somebody else, as in there is an expression of loved by someone else, when they didn't even realize that person even loved them in the first place, or even liked them in the first place.
Love is a strong word. Yeah, let's use like for now. Just because love it has connotations of
I'm
being
talking
really
about. I'm talking about
deep,
going.
powerful,
I'm talking about going
soulful.
from, let's call it, from a platonic relationship to something that's more than a platonic.
A sexual.
It's not just sexual. It's deeper, because platonic, there are.
In what way is it deeper?
You're so raw, man. You're so raw.
Continue.
So when somebody expresses their love for somebody else,
Yeah.
and then somebody realizes, and again, I'm going to be really crass here. Let's say somebody realizes, oh my God, this is available to them.
Yeah. Okay.
This is open to them.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden,
It's an option.
the idea of reciprocity, they love me and they make me feel good.
Yeah.
You start to love the person back.
Yeah. And even if it's like a platonic, even if it's friendship, if you've got a friend who makes you feel like crap every time you talk to them, that pretty much sours the friendship, because, okay, you're going through stuff, you've got to support each other, fair enough. But overall, there needs to be an uplifting aspect where you guys support each other, back each other,
Yeah.
make each other feel good about life,
Again,
and
reciprocity, yeah.
and about yourselves, you know? So same thing with the relationship. And I guess you could meet a girl, or a girl could meet you, and you might make effort for her every day where you're just always there when she needs you. Or I'm not saying be a sucker, you got to have a balance. You have to balance your own needs and not
Alpha
prioritize.
male.
You have to prioritize yourself sometimes. But if you make that effort, whether it doesn't have to be huge gestures, or if someone makes that effort for you, and then one day you wake up and realize, wait a minute, that person has always, you know, made that effort for me. Always asked me, do I want a coffee in the morning when I walk into the office?
Aw.
Or, you know, saved me a chair when I go into my school classroom.
Oh.
I know, right?
Oh.
And it's like, after a while, you realize, wait a minute, that person's so good to me. And then that realization, it clicks. You know what? I'm looking for something that I think I want in something that's unattainable, and it ties back into proximity, but I have something so good right in front of me. Some people got their whole lives, they don't even realize there's something really good in front of them, which sounds like a really nice guy kind of passive-aggressive kind of, why doesn't she love me, man? I save her a chair every day. I get her a cup of coffee. Why won't she let me man? I mean, all, you know, and
Dude with a swearing.
yeah, but the point is that people think that by doing these things, they get a sense of entitlement sometimes, where they're like, okay, you know what? I've done so much for this other person.
Yeah, that's a wrong way to look at it.
It is, but people really fall in this trap.
Of
and
course.
There's a website called Reddit, and you get all these forums and people discussing things. Blah, 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 blah.
Forums.
And
Hashtag forums.
one of the subreddits is basically about nice guys and nice girls, and it's basically people posting messages from WhatsApp or, you know, iChat or text messages or whatever. You can just cut to you and come back to me. No, that's it. All right,
Not
fine.
this time.
People posting WhatsApp messages, Insta messages, whatever it is, where someone they're talking to, who's a friend in their life, is losing their mind and flipping out because they're not receiving some level of sexual return on all the good gestures that they've made to a person.
But isn't that a lower level of consciousness?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people just get trapped. They actually
That's not a
can't-
mature way of looking at things. Is
No,
it? And
it's
again, that's
not.
probably from an inexperienced.
Yeah, but people still, and you know what? Some people don't grow up. But
Yeah.
So there is that as well.
Yeah.
But
Or they don't change their mindset.
yeah, a certain level of maturity is being able to step outside of yourself and recognize yourself transparently. And if you find yourself in that situation, it's because you just don't know yourself well enough to know how to deal with yourself, how to not lash out, and how to understand why you're feeling what you're feeling, what you need to change about yourself. Anyways.
Yeah, so what I was saying was
So
is that
that's why this is an interesting topic.
100%. So with
Reciprocation.
I know, because that's the easy way to say it. Reciprocity.
Yeah.
Again, once you start to express a notion of love for somebody else, they start to, let's call it, start to like the unattractive things or qualities about the opposite person. So for example, a guy might be bald and the girl might not like a guy without hair, but then suddenly she starts to like it because now there's other things that are more important. Or a guy might not like a girl with a belly, but all of a sudden he finds that kind of cute chubbiness. Like he falls for that. And it's the whole idea of, okay, you know what I actually want is not always what you need.
Yeah. And then sometimes the way I see it is the imperfections remind you that something is real. If something's perfect, it's because you're wearing rose-tinted glasses and in your head...
Beer goggles.
And it's like a fantasy. And as long as you're keeping a person as this kind of fantasy, you're not really seeing them for who they truly are. And when you start picking up the imperfections but love them regardless, that's something beautiful. But yeah, like you're saying.
So we like those 4 roots of causes of love, yeah?
I think causes...
The face of it all.
Causes is I think it's a weird word for it.
Causality.
I don't know. It's a very strong word for it. I think everything we've discussed so far are factors in finding love.
I'm not saying this is
winning love.
I'm not saying it's a definitive guide.
Yeah, no, but
I'm
it's just
saying
the
we're
word
happy with
causality is a really weird thing to bring into it. They could have just said 4 factors that influence love.
Well, that cause love.
But they don't. Yeah.
Physical attractiveness.
But you could have those things and still not have love. That's why the causes, it increases the chances, the likelihood. It's a numbers game. The more people, it's like if you met.
You can find somebody physically attractive.
Yeah.
And fall in love with them.
Yeah.
But the moment you find out that their personality stinks, suddenly they don't become physically attractive to you anymore. There's nothing in there about it.
No, I just want to see the 4 things in relation. Proximity, similarity, physical attractiveness, and those are really key elements of it, I guess. Causality is just a really funky word to use for it. But yeah, no, I get where he is coming from. Mr. Michel. I get it. It's just the phrasing is just weird. Causality is not, yeah. It implies a kind of, you do this, you'll get that. That's why.
Oh, so now he goes into detail.
Oh, jeez.
So I'll run through this very quickly. Proximity. I've just got highlighted the mere exposure effect. And it's true. The more time you spend with people and you find more out about them and you find more connection with them, the more you end up liking them.
Yeah.
And then eventually you potentially could love them.
Yeah.
Similarity and physical attractiveness, I've got nothing highlighted because I thought it was obvious. And then reciprocity, I've got loving leads to loving, which is kind of what I was saying.
Is that your next single coming out?
What? Boys Own, take that. Backstreet Boys. We are best advised to delay the revelation of that love. So again, loving leads to loving. There's evidence that loving leads to loving is the whole quote. Because it doesn't, obviously, just because you love somebody doesn't mean they're going to love you back, as we said. So there's evidence that loving leads to loving. Mook loving. But
what kind of name is...
We are best advised to delay the revelation of that love until we sense that our object of affection has become susceptible to falling for our charms. So this is kind of stating that, okay, you know what? If you found somebody physically attractive, or if you find somebody that you kind of love that's close to you, or you found somebody that has a lot of similarities with you and you've fallen for, don't tell them straight away, because that will scare them away. The idea is take your time. Build the relationship.
I always take my time.
That's what she said. Build the relationship, as in build the connectiveness, and kind of let them come into the same space, the headspace that you're in. If they don't come into that same space as you, then allow it. Let it go.
Allow it, bruv.
Allow it, right? But if they start to sway and, again, become more in tune with your thinking or your ideas, basically, like I say, reciprocation again. If they start to show the same affection, let's call it, that you show to them, then is probably the time to say, okay, you know what? I'm feeling you. Let's take this to another level.
Everyone's got their own...
Another level. Jay-Z.
I'm thinking of the band, Another Level, that old school, yeah.
No, I don't Wanna be in love no more. Guess I was a fool for loving you. And I guess I was a... Go on.
I can't remember now. I've got another level.
Meeting me too. I'm not doing any edits on this one.
All right.
I will cut away. That was disgusting.
You enjoyed it.
But we agree on that though, yeah? As in, if all of a sudden you meet someone tomorrow and you feel like, I more than like this person. Again, love is a very subjective word, but I more than like this person. I want to be with that person. Don't tell them straight away.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing about that is everyone's got their own rules. Some people just dive headfirst into it. Some people are too walled off, they put the...
Guarded.
Yes.
Yes.
Reserved.
Introverted.
No, introverted separate.
Bring me another word.
No, guarded was fine.
Okay.
That was a good word. That was the appropriate word. But the point is that everyone's got their own approach. We shouldn't really say this to the public, to the world, but my approach is basically always to have a little bit held back more than your partner, because you might be feeling it, but you want to see them or feel that they feel it as just as much.
Well, yeah.
Just as much as you do.
Are we talking about before?
And then the moment their feelings go past yours, then you can open up more. You can, so they give a
We're
bit.
talking about the start again of the relationship rather than...
Or even throughout. I mean, it comes to a point where you've got a certain level of trust. But yeah, the start of a relationship is key.
Nice.
But the problem is that if both people did that, it wouldn't go anywhere, because both people are waiting for the other person to make the first move. So someone needs to take the risk and someone needs to take a chance. But that's not like on a first meeting, bouquet of roses, marry me. But what I'm saying is, if you're in a relationship or just starting off in a relationship, I always give a little bit of breathing space just to see how the other person feels. And when they start feeling more than
That's
me,
so nice of you, Chris.
and then I allow more to be shown and allow myself to open up more. But if she's not feeling it as much, if I know I'm feeling more, then it's like, well, I'll just keep it to myself. I don't need to put pressure on it or try to force it. I just go with the flow and just...
So again, give and take.
Yeah.
50-50 kind of idea of...
Yeah, and
give some,
situational awareness and awareness of the other person.
Rather than you going full, not full frontal, you going full force.
Full frontal too, yeah, that usually works.
You going full force. Chapter 2, what is the root cause in winning love? So we spoke about causality. I don't think that was even the root cause, actually. I think you were just talking about causality, now looking back in hindsight. So reasons, like say factors. I think factors was a better word. Okay, what is the root cause in winning love? One person does not love another unless he sees something to love in another. He and she is used interchangeably.
Cool.
Agreed or disagree?
So a person doesn't love another person unless they see something worth loving.
To love in the other, yeah.
Yeah.
This comes back to similarity.
Yeah. No. You can love something where you don't see any similarity, but it's the sheer alienness of it.
Similarity in your views of what you want.
Sometimes no.
No, sorry, as in, for example, I'm looking for somebody who is attractive. You're attractive. I like you.
That's a really bad example of similarity.
No, thank you.
You're going to watch that back later and say, damn it, Andy, why did I phrase it like that? I made myself look dumb.
Shots fired. I'm talking about alignment. But the idea is that, yeah, when you look... Because again, this is saying he sees something to love in another. Not they talk about it.
Yeah, they don't have to talk about it, but that's not the point.
There's something in that person.
The point is that there's minds out there which are so alien. Like, take like these creative geniuses like Dr. Dre or Jimmy Iovine as a business mind, or, Quincy Jones. I use these three music examples because they're like prime examples in my head, because they're fascinating characters.
Where are we going, bruv?
The point is that they've gone through possibly multiple relationships, multiple marriages, because people fell in love with them for who they were, even though who they were was relatively alien and inaccessible, and the way that their mind worked was so foreign to them. Nobody thinks like these people, but they still fell in love with all the acts of kindness, maybe, and consideration and care, So why do you look like you just smelled a fart?
No, I'm smelling that funkiness that you told me about.
Huh?
That funkiness that you said.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, bro, just like shower like once a day at least, bro. I like the way you realise it now. It's like an hour and a half later.
It's your feet, bro.
It's not my feet.
Cut. So what did they see in those people that made them love them then?
Well, that's the thing. When you fall in love with someone whose mind is so alien, maybe their interest, you have some very base level common interest, but what really connects you is the care and the compassion, and attractiveness is a big part of it, and chemistry. Sometimes chemistry just overrides everything else. Chemistry just flattens everything else. What was the key
Technically,
thing?
chemistry is, because it's all about hormones anyway.
Yeah.
One person does not love another, and it's he/she sees something to love in the other.
Yeah, I agree
What
with
I'm
that.
saying to you
I
earlier
agree
on
with
is that
that,
you
but
see, you have an idea in yourself of what's ideal for you, and then something about that person matches with your ideas in your mind of what you're looking for, and that's what I mean by similarities.
yeah, okay, but if you're gonna take
See,
it
I'm
to
not stupid.
if you're gonna take it to that level,
That's the only level I'll take it to, bro.
no, before the stupid comment, before that stupid thing, if you look, there's things that people want in a partner, which aren't even conscious. They're subconscious. It's like all this Freudian stuff comes out. I didn't swear, just for you that one time. I'm gonna swear for the rest of the episode, and I've sworn already several
I have
times.
no idea how you're gonna fit a swear word into that, but carry on.
Shit. You can smell it too. I couldn't hold it in, man. We sit here for too long. Freud. So yeah, there's a whole, a lot of what Freud said
Once.
when he was alive. that time was a while back. It can be kind of explained away or dismissed or seen in a different perspective. But he touched on something that's really been expanded upon, which is there's a whole undercurrent of wants. I guess Carl Jung as well is similar in that train of thought. There's a whole undercurrent of wants and desires which are out of the spotlight of the consciousness. They're basically off stage in the shadows, but they're influencing what we want. So it's like a girl might say, or a guy might say, they want a reliable, stable, committed partner, but there's something in their subconscious which maybe wants danger or exhilaration or excitement. So sometimes it's contradictory what our conscious mind tells our subconscious mind. Or maybe sometimes we say to ourselves, we want an exciting, dangerous partner, we want one night stands and blah blah blah, but really on a subconscious level we really just want a relationship where we can come home and cuddle and feel safe and secure. And so sometimes what I'm saying is that your conscious and your subconscious often can want different things, and what people think they want in a partner is not necessarily what they really want in a partner.
Again, you have to experience life
really
and develop
about
your
what you
idea
end up,
of getting clarity on what you want.
It's about what you really want is what you actually end up choosing, because you can say what you want as much as you want.
Not what you end up choosing, what you end up getting sometimes. It depends on how powerful you are in choosing, because I will not settle for less than I believe.
Yeah, but I hear where you're coming from, but that pertains to you.
I know, because I'm special.
You are very special.
Yeah.
You get a sticker after the show.
So we agree that...
I can really smell it, bro.
Unless there's something going on outside.
Is it the crisps or something? Is it one of the...
No. It smells proper like manure or something, innit?
Okay, let's just work through it.
Cut. You are under obligation to win and hold the love of others.
I can't tell if I'm pulling the face from the statement because of the smell, man. Let's pause it. We need to figure out what it is. It's killing me.
We've still got 20 minutes.
All right. Let's get back on focus. Say it again, please.
You are under obligation to win and hold the
Yeah, again?
It's a smell, bro. You are under obligation to win and hold the love of others.
You're not under any obligation.
I think you are.
You're under no obligation in this life, in this universe.
Okay, they're talking about again winning love. So I think if you're trying to win the love and affection of another person, then it is not their obligation to love you. It is your obligation to win the love from them.
Dude, I can't take it seriously with that smell. It's like a sewage pipe. I can't even, bro. Can we resolve this, please? It's gonna get back as well. Okay, so in terms of winning love, and your eyes are watering from it. My eyes are watering, starting to sting from the smell. In terms of obligations, obligation is a strong word because in reality, you have no obligations to anything or anyone apart from the ones that you feel from a moral sense of duty or societally imposed sense of duty, right? It's like society tells me I need to be like this, or my culture, or whatever it is.
Keep talking.
But the point is, are you going to try and hunt it down?
No, I'm going to move all the bins out. Keep talking.
I don't think it's the bins, dude. No.
There's food and stuff in here as well.
Ah.
Keep talking.
I'm not going to keep talking to an empty chair. What do you think this is, the Joe Rogan show?
They'll never know.
I know. It's putting me off. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Do 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 do. Yeah, that bit.
I'm back.
You are. So.
Already smells better.
Because you left the room for a moment. All right. So, in terms of sense of obligation, you look so chuffed with yourself, like it stopped. All right. So, in terms of obligation, like I said before, that first bit, I'm not going to repeat the whole thing. You can just kind of like fade it out or something.
As long as it's in there, it's fine.
Cool. And the way you're talking about it is, what? Can you smell it again?
No.
What?
I'm just giving you the faces to put you off, and it works every time.
Dick. You are a dick, man. You are a dick with a small dick. You are the big dick with a small dick.
That's going. That's going in the start. Yes. I'm back.
Tell me more about this obligation. Tell me what it means to you. What was your childhood like growing up, Andy?
I'm talking about the idea of winning someone's love.
Okay.
They are not under the obligation. If you are the one that first expresses or has the idea of, I like this person, I love this person, I want to be with this person, it's not.
Is it back?
No, you get me worried now because these might be sewage pipes up here, and if there's one leaking, that's going to be disgusting. It's so random because it's like, where is that? Like, what could it be? What is that?
20 minutes later.
All right, just unpack the statement a little bit because, or if
You are under obligation, which obviously means it's your duty, your responsibility to win and hold the love of others.
it's just really awkward phrasing. It's really clumsy phrasing. But
In what respect?
let me read that. Let me read it. You are under obligation to win and hold the love of others. Let's put it into the what? Every person is under a moral obligation to endeavor to so live as to win the love of others. But nobody, not even your husband or wife, is under obligation to love you. Instead, you are under obligation to win and hold the love of others. The husband whose wife has ceased to love him has no grounds for complaint. It is she who may justly complain that he ceased to win her love. I don't know, it's really clumsily phrased, but I guess it just means if you love something, you can't expect love back, but you just put the effort in. If you keep putting effort in and you've got nothing to show for it, and then that's a warning sign that, you know, it's not, there's no appreciation.
I don't like the way
there.
you just stated that, but anyway. I thought that was really clumsy.
It's better articulated than how it's written there,
Okay,
man.
so again, let me carry on because there's another quote here that might help explain it. It states, if we were lovely, they could not help but loving us. So again, it's the idea of basically projecting yourself out there as being somebody that could be lovable in order to attract the affection, the object of your affection.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think there's a lot of people out there who don't put any projection of being lovable and they are still loved.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying this is talking about the ideal. I think the ideal way of making things. I like a formula, but like I say, there's always the exception to the rule. But
I think it's a pretty strong exception. A lot of people get love who don't deserve it and don't work for it.
Again, rule. I'm saying exception to the rule as a metaphor, like an idea, but obviously these aren't rules. But what I'm saying is there's always exceptions to the ideas that are being presented here,
Sure.
because everything is possible and everything will happen and can happen.
Yeah.
And again, on different levels of consciousness or different perspectives, different cultures even, things happen.
Yeah.
And things change. And again, through our life experience and our clarity, you know, forming, etc., everything does move. So maybe this is at like the highest level, that if you project yourself, as in if you think about, okay, you know, I like this person, but I'm not going to make them, I don't expect them to love me back unless if I work on myself, if I improve myself, if I make myself, depends on where you're at again in your own kind of
that comes to self-love. I agree with what you're saying now.
Fill your cup, fill your own cup.
That sounds dirty.
Fill your own cup. Jaddi. Do you want me to read the next one?
Sure.
Sharp. In winning love, we must retain the internal locus of control, the sense of personal accountability and responsibility for being loved or not being loved. So again, it all goes in the same vein here, saying that basically we are the reason that we are being loved or not loved by the other person.
Yeah, okay. I agree with that.
So does that make more sense now to the other two statements?
Not really, but I kind of...
Okay,
when you're rephrasing it, it feels like it makes more sense than how it was originally phrased.
When two people fall in love and they get married
and
everything works out and stuff, but then suddenly somewhere down the line they hate each other and get divorced.
Yeah.
There's a reason why one person falls out of love with the other person.
Sure.
And it's because there was a change, a shift.
Sure.
Something moved.
People grow apart or people grow differently.
For a reason. But again, I think coming down to what's saying here, a lot of people forget that one, you don't just fall in love with somebody and that's it.
Yeah, you can't take it for granted that now you've got it, you don't have to put any more effort in.
Every single day you have to put effort in. Every single day you have to work for it. And every day you should be basically falling in love again with the person that you're with.
To quote Massive Attack, Teardrop, love is a verb, love is a doing word. And that actually really stuck with me because people see love as something passive. It's something like it's an attribute. You've got it. I am loved, or I love that thing. But it's always a shifting. It's always a changing. It's always a kind of... love is a doing word. You show love, you demonstrate love, you feel love. It's not like I've got it and I own it and it's mine now forever. I'll forever keep this person's love on me. No, it's active. It's not passive. So in that respect, that's my humble take on it. But yeah, that's how I see it.
But when you think about
how it relates to that,
when we as men go out there to obviously we see the object of our affection. I'm going to keep using that term over and over again because I can't think of a better one. The first thing we do is we step up our game, right?
Yeah.
As in, they will look good for us or whatever. They will put on a show for us. But then we, in return, reciprocate by basically, like you said, paying for the first date, paying for the first meal or whatever. As in, we start to do things in order to attract them to look in our direction, to gain their attention, to win them over. So in that respect, we are trying to become lovable, surely. And again, you can manipulate.
I don't try, I just do. I just am. And what is meant to be is meant to be.
But what I'm saying is that you don't do that for everyone. You do that, as in there's certain things that you do.
Like show your best side.
Not even show your best side, but as in you go kind of above and beyond your general kind of level of what you normally do.
You operate differently.
You operate at a higher level.
You operate differently. Yeah, okay, sure. But you operate differently.
You get more creative.
You don't. Okay, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, like when you're flirting or you're...
Exactly. You don't do that
building up a rapport. Yeah, no, definitely. You don't talk to that object of your affection like you would your workmates or your classmates or your family, whatever. You just change.
Yeah.
Actually, I find that whenever I'm in that phase of getting to know a girl, and having those first moments is really exciting. But there's a whole playfulness about it, which is it's quite intoxicating. It's quite beautiful.
Okay, so I guess carrying on from that, because again, I highlight certain things here that don't always make context if they're read out of context. So it don't make sense if they're out of context. Yeah. But it says it is personality. So again, I think this is talking about being lovable. How do you be lovable? Well, it's down to your personality. Like you say, how you operate.
Yeah.
How you present yourself.
There's a distinction, right? Because I know guys and girls who will put on a artificial side of themselves in order to win love.
It's called fronting.
Yeah. So there's people who front and then a week or a month or...
They can't hold it up.
Yeah, and it just falls apart and you're just like, oh my God, this person is just an absolute... Why am I wasting...
Which is why it's best to be your true self from the start.
Exactly. I think if
you... Be confident in who you are. Don't be scared of showing who you are.
Refine who you are, work on yourself, and then who you end up being naturally is what draws in other people to you. It's like I don't ever need to be fake or to front. I just have enough belief and confidence in who I am as a person that if they're going to pick up on a vibe, they're going to pick up on a vibe. But I shouldn't have to change who I am to try and impress someone. I find that it's depressing as hell. But everyone does it to some type of degree, you know, without realizing it or consciously realizing it. You know, it's like kind of cock blocking and getting into a situation and then making the other guy look dumb so you look better and all these kind of things. It's all power games. It's all social manipulation. It's all pivoting and controlling the social dynamics of a group or of the interaction, which is, there's a whole range of theory behind that and knowledge and information around that. But the point is that it really should, if you really want to find the truest version of love, it's about finding the truest version of yourself, being that person.
Again, being in alignment with who you really are.
And then people will just pick up on that, and the object of your affection will just sense that. You don't have to even be artificial in who you are. Just who you are is naturally attractive enough to draw people in. And you get that. You might get, let's use a hypothetical example. In a high school, there's a girl who's really fake, really sickly sweet to people's faces, and then complete two-faced, backstabbing so-and-so behind people's back. Or you get someone who's just generally really bubbly and friendly and pleasant to be around and always just, you know, up for a good laugh and bants and just, you know, have jokes. And they're just so transparent, not naive, but they're transparent about who they are. They're comfortable and secure who they are, imperfections and all. And that in itself is just so much more valuable than, you know, something that's superficially attractive or draws you in, you know. So there's a contrast there. But then some people like that artificiality, you know. It does something, you know. If we go into the whole spectrum of human kinks about these different kinds of things, it's like people love or find attraction for the freakiest, weirdest stuff. But that's not what this is about. This is just about.
But again, as long as again,
bring
it's
it
in
back
alignment with who they are.
Yeah,
it's what they like. Say everyone finds different things attractive.
Yeah,
and that's why I always like the fact that, like, we won't like the same kind of girls.
No.
And it's like, if we did like the same kind of girls, or we were always after the same girl, that would be problems.
Yeah,
not only between our friendship, but the fact that there's only kind of like, oh, there's only one girl on earth for us kind of thing. And if you get her or I get her, there's a problem kind of thing. But when we all have this different idea of what we're looking for, that's how life works. And that's why this whole idea of love is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And there is no just one soulmate or one person for you out there.
I agree. That's what it comes down to. Because, for example, we have completely different tastes. For example, if you take me and Jin sometimes have very similar tastes. Me and you have completely different tastes, and that works in our favour. There are some friends who have very similar tastes to me. For example, Jin. So we have quite a large amount of overlap. But the key thing is that people will only think that soulmate is singular. Like, you have one soulmate and that's you set for life, and if you botch that up, you're screwed. You'll never find someone like that person again, blah, blah, blah. But the point is there's like 8.8 billion people on the planet.
7.8. We're not hit 8 yet.
Give or take a billion. And
it's a lot, man.
There's still a lot. 7.8 or
that gives you better odds.
So,
the more people you put in there, that gives you better odds.
So the point is that there's not going to be, again, in my own humble belief, I don't believe that there's one soulmate there for you. I think there's several soulmates across your lifetime, and it depends on where you are, where they are in their lives, and where you are in your life, and how much effort you put into making it work. And it's as simple as that. But just because on a superficial attraction level, or physical level, me and Jin have similar tastes, it doesn't mean as a personality-wise we'll have similar tastes. And again, there's so many people on the planet. Why fight over the one person? And sometimes it comes to proximity. You get best friends fighting over an shared object of desire, and it's like, it's because she's in your class or he's in your class, and it's proximity, and it's the only one that you both at this moment have that proximity to, and that attraction, and all the other factors we discussed earlier. But sometimes you just fail to see the bigger picture of, well, you're not going to be in that classroom forever. You're not always going to be in a love triangle in the office forever. You know, the idea of competing for affection is just massive massive turn off for me, because it's like, how are you restricting yourself to that level where if somebody wants you, they want you regardless. Why should you have to compete for someone's affections? It's just so. See,
what I find attractive, moving back to this idea of being lovable and stuff, is consistency. And I don't mean consistency on a boring level where
you've got hair on your face, just undo your,
where it's so obvious and da 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 da. As in, I'm saying that when you, for example, say something, you're going to do something, or you be something. I know.
I wonder what the smell is,
dude. I know. consistency is really like an attractive quality for me, and that makes people lovable. As in, I can then guarantee things rather than everything being random. And
I can't. I'm trying to take a breath to calm myself down, and I'm just getting a nose full of that, so I have to breathe through my mouth.
I can't help you because I've moved the bins out. If that was it, and it's not that, then obviously
We need to actually afterwards. We'll figure out what it is.
So personality, it includes your accomplishments, your wealth, your physical attractiveness, your intellect, your temperament, your physical energy, your empathy, your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior. So again, nicely rounded up, it doesn't just mean how you laugh, what you find funny. It actually covers a whole lot of things that make you basically who you are.
Yeah.
It's all the facets of you as a person that make you more lovable and attractive.
Sure.
Attractive to
that word was right in front of you, dude.
I know. To another person.
Sure.
So it's interesting that they cover those things because again, they're not missing. Well, they might be miss something, but they're saying that it's not just easily as it's your personality. Well, what does personality mean?
Yeah.
It's
They're breaking it down.
There's a lot of different things that cover your personality because again, down to morals and ideas and values and stuff, puts you in a direction on a path. And if that path doesn't equate and have a similar connection to somebody else, you're on different paths. It's not going to work. If you are something, somebody will love you for what you are. And the more you are, the larger number of people will love you.
If you are something, people will love you for who you are.
For what you are.
For what you are. What if you're a murderer, or a rapist, or a serial killer of some type?
And the more you are, I think you always go to the dark side.
The more people you kill.
I'll finish the statement and then I thought Michael Jackson straight away and I'll explain why. If you are something, somebody will love you for what you are. And the more you are, the larger number of people will love you. And the more you are, the more intensely you will be loved. Now, with Michael Jackson, do you remember there was, on the news or something, there was fans outside his hotel screaming for him and crying and fainting when he came to the window and stuff. And it's almost like he got to that elevated status of being the king of pop. King of pop, right? King
Still
of pop.
is.
And he's so...
Always.
He was, if you are something, he was the king of pop. Somebody will love you. A lot of people loved him.
Andy, he will always be the king of pop.
My bad. For what you are. And the more you are, the large number of people will love you. So again, assets of his physical attractiveness, intellect, temperament, physical energy, etc.
Sure.
All contributed to that. Now he... pushing all the idea of what the media pressed on him about kids and stuff. Like he was very like in tune with the world and in tune with love and in tune with making this world a better place overall. And I think that attracted a lot of people to him as well.
Yes. 100%.
And then the more you are, the more intensely you will be loved. So because he was more than just an artist who was popular with his music,
he was a philanthropist.
because he had all these other facets to him. He was intensely loved by a very mass part of the population that were aware of him at the time. Because even I was a kid growing up when he was kind of, I would say, not at the peak of his career even. I would say not on his way down, but I would say he's probably at his peak, I don't know. But I was a massive fan of Michael Jackson. I kept a scrapbook of newspaper clippings of him just because I found him so inspiring. And I was like 8 or 9 years old at the time, whatever. And it's like...
I'll drink to that. That's pretty awesome, man.
Rest in peace, my brother. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Michael.
I just feel like he's the example of... Again, this is going back to the idea of you've got to work on yourself. You've got to improve yourself. As in, when I say improve yourself, I'm not saying we're imperfect, but I'm saying, always look for more in yourself. Don't look for more in other people. Don't expect other people to be better for you. Be more so that more people will love you. Improve yourself, learn more, grow more, expand more.
100%.
Because that makes you more attractive in the respect that you're interesting. You've got goals, you've got ambitions, you've got drive. You're moving towards other things. You're more experienced. You're more knowledgeable. There's all these things that kind of go into the idea of improving yourself, and that's a beautiful thing.
That is definitely what you've hit the nail on the head there. Creth. No, I fully agree, man.
So again, it says set to work to develop that within yourself.
And I know I took it to a negative, but the only point is...
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong in saying it. But again, I think because the book is focused on winning love.
It's like, why would we talk about
there's
that?
Probably a whole book about
love.
There's probably a book about murder and stuff. Then you can talk about the opposite.
It's just anytime. It's just the aspect of my brain of
I feel sorry for you, man.
Philosophy of it. Just basically, no. It's first thing you do is what do you do with any idea or sentence concept? Is you basically stretch it to its limitations, and then you see what exists in that space. So in that statement, there's so much that exists within that space of positive and negative, right? And you identify that as a fact, and you just accept it, and you just roll with it. You learn to live with it. Okay, cool. That is what is contained in that sentence. But then you think about what's the most beneficial thing to take from that, and then you look at the positive. Then you say, okay, I recognize the world in all its flaws and how something can be taken to a negative, but I'm going to choose, I make the conscious decision to find the good in every statement where possible, where applicable. So I fully agree with using the example of Michael Jackson, or people, you know, some people say like Mother Teresa or Gandhi, or just, you know, Nelson Mandela, or, you know, some of these characters were really flawed. We won't go into that, but in terms of what they represented and how people connected to them, and the impact on the social consciousness of the planet, you know, people will love you if you do what you love, and the people feel that passion.
Set to work to develop that within yourself, which can win love. So again, that relates back to what we were saying.
Yeah, can, because there's no sense of obligation, or there's no guarantees in life, but you do things for the right reasons, or for the reasons that are true to you, and that should be enough. The fact that you did things for what you felt was the right way to live, you know.
But again, I like the fact that it places responsibility on you.
Yes. Moi. Yes.
As in, what I'm saying is, it's something that you can actually take action on.
You don't blame. It's not about blaming
It's not
anyone
out of your
else.
control.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not beyond your reach. It's not out of your control. It's something that you can directly influence through your actions.
Be what you are, and if you are not enough to win love, be more. Develop yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Agree with that. Can I see it again? Let me see if there's anything to take out of that. That one, yeah.
Be what you are, and if you are not enough,
Yeah.
do more
No, I agree with
to
that.
develop yourself.
Yeah.
I think we're always in a state of development anyway. I think if you're not in a state of development, improving yourself or expanding yourself is a better word. No, developing is a good word. Then you're not really growing, as in you're not living life. Life is to be...
To flourish.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Expansion isn't the only state.
Again, I think I'm talking about energetically.
No. I agree with you. But the thing is, the reason I'm making the distinction is, it's the whole idea that if you're not growing, if you're not becoming better, you're not to say you're going the opposite direction. It's like life is like a treadmill. So it's our mutual friend Jordan who gave the analogy of being on a treadmill. Life is like a treadmill, and that if you think you've come to a standstill, it's one of my lyrics. Yeah, if you think you're at a standstill, really you're moving back involuntarily. So you're either growing or you're shrinking, or you're.
I call it dying.
Yeah.
As in on your way. If you're not growing, you're basically on your way out.
Yeah.
Even though we're all on our way out anyway.
Yeah. Ultimately. Yeah.
No matter how unattractive you may consider yourself to be, I don't rate myself.
Hey.
Or
I'm off the scale.
Or better
it's not
stated, there is no scale.
It's not like I don't deserve a number. Shit, man, I'm better than a number. Is what my point is.
Or better stated,
I know my value. Shit.
No matter how non-traditional your beauty, and no matter how different you may be from the physical type your beloved finds typically attractive, you can overcome this with personality. It's so funny because obviously in personality it says stuff like your wealth. You know, a lot of guys think that women only want money. But again, it's the idea of the full package. All the things that make you as a human being. You as the person that you are.
And a full package is one of the qualities as well.
Oh, hell yeah. That can overcome. As in, when somebody really gets to know you. And that's another thing, like, again, proximity, etc. They need to take time to get to know you in the first place, to find, as again it said earlier in the book, to find a reason to love you. And that sounds a bit, like, why do I need to have a reason to love somebody? Well, actually, you do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't love them in the first place.
Yeah.
You don't just look at somebody. Unconditional love is different. We love everything. We love everyone.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of love. But eros, the passionate love that we're talking about, you have to have a reason to love in order to pursue that love, to be motivated, and to create more of that love.
I think there's two kind of maladies. There's two inversions of that. Some people, they say, I know I'm so great. Why can't someone else see that I'm so great? Why don't they love me when I know that I deserve to be loved? Yeah, you deserve to be loved, but it takes time, it takes patience.
Because no one knows you like you know yourself.
Yeah, and you might know so many great things about yourself, but there's no guarantee that's necessarily being conveyed or comes across.
Or what is seen.
Yeah. And it's like, some people have a serious kind of entitlement issue of, I should be loved by other people or by the object of my desire.
Like you said earlier on, because I paid for the meal, or because I did this, or because I got the chair out, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like say, a sense of entitlement, when that's not the case.
And that's corrosive to love. I think that's really corrosive to building a bond and
toxic.
Attachment. Yeah, it's toxic, yeah.
Because what you should do things
for who you are, not
Yeah,
because
out
of what
love,
you're trying to
your
get out
own
of someone
self-love,
else.
yeah. As in, you do things because they're in alignment with who you are,
Yeah.
and you do them because you love doing it rather than expecting
Yes.
something in return.
100%, yeah.
Give without expecting to receive is
Yeah.
the best way to live your life.
Yeah.
Because then whatever comes to you is like a gift. It's like
Yeah.
a present. It's like a surprise.
But that's the thing as well, though, because you can, let's be fair about it, you can do a lot for another person, and if they don't feel that it's appreciated, it's almost like, that's not just like, oh, I bought them a meal and they didn't do this for me or that for me, but it's like, ultimately, as a relationship as a whole, if the power dynamic is off, and you're putting in loads and loads, and the other person's not reciprocating, or they're not at least matching or trying to better and trying to invest themselves in it, then that's just a evaluation of that relationship in your life. It's not I should have got this thing out of this person, or I should have got something out of this person. It's really like, should you be making the effort to keep that person in your life?
But
are they the right person for you? Because there are lots of users out in the world, and you
have to recognize that in the first place
it's a
by
skill.
experiencing it in the first time.
Exactly.
As well.
You get burnt and you learn, and you recognize it doesn't mean that you just lose. Some people, they get burnt and they withdraw emotionally, and they're like, I'll never trust anyone again, and da. And I think anyone who's been hurt has been through that. But again, it's like, it's learning how to judge the situation and judge the understanding of that person, of are they willing to make the effort, or are they making the effort to kind of meet you halfway? And it's not about that you deserve it, but it's just that if they're not doing it, then walk away and just, like, find something better that you deserve.
And going back to
but
don't
don't hold a grudge against that person for not giving you something you want from them, because that's not how it works.
what we said about putting in too much effort as well. You said earlier on as well about when we were talking about not revealing the love too early.
Yeah.
Is that you've got to balance the amount of effort being put in. So you don't put in too much. Anything that is too much effort, when it feels like it's work.
Yeah.
You need to stop that straight away, because that's resistance.
Yeah.
You need to put in enough to show an intention, and then, like you say, wait for the reciprocation of some kind before you take it to the next level and you put in more effort. Because, like you say, when you over exert yourself into a direction of a person, but you don't get anything in return along that journey, or you get a little bit but it's not the same as you're giving, or close to the same as you're giving,
100%.
then you're the fool for putting in too much in the first place. And if that's you stop it. Just stop it. All right, just stop it.
Rein it back a little. Just have a bit of.
You've had the experience now.
Self-
You know it doesn't feel good. All right, just stop it.
Yeah. Just exert some self-control and recognize what's healthy for you and what's not. And sometimes you think, I'm already this far gone, I might as well keep trying. And it's like, no, you're just making it worse for yourself. You just keep on digging, assuming that, eventually, if I keep making all this effort, they'll love me at some point, or they'll reciprocate at some point. But learn to spot trends in people's behavior. And if they don't appreciate you after a certain amount of time, then really you're kind of wasting your time trying to convince someone to appreciate you for what you know you're worth.
And again, going through that whole, you have to... I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that, man. Some hard life lessons, but valuable, If someone can learn from... I've always thought, learn from your own mistakes or learn from someone else's. And, it's a mixture of both. I think we're both drawing from here in terms of experience. But, yeah.
And talking about you have to be lovable in order to be loved. Oh, I've lost my bloody point. Lost my point.
It's cool. We'll roll forward.
Okay. The brain is wired to find pleasure in the familiar.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
We get that's why a lot of people get comfortable in their life.
Complacent.
And they become complacent because of that comfortability of not moving outside of their comfort zone and becoming very like, well, I'm happy, when they're not actually as happy as they could be, but they're content.
Yeah.
Which is dangerous.
No, it's not even content. It's just satisfied.
Apathetic? Satisfied.
Apathetic and satisfied on a base level. It's like, it made me happy in the past, and it kind of still makes me happy now. And if I keep doing it, it might, every time you go into, it's like having a drink for the first time, or if you smoke weed for the first time.
Yeah, you did.
Don't know what you're talking about. Or certain experiences for the first time, they give you a certain level of pleasure or a certain level of experience, and every time you go back to do that thing, you're expecting it to be like the first time, but nothing is ever like that first time.
True.
And over time, the actual amount of pleasure you get can diminish. That's why
you
need to change it up.
It.
You need to experiment. Yeah, you take
like
more of it.
Drugs, you need more of it in order to feel or to come close to that.
Because you build up a tolerance.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah.
But I like the way you said the brain is hardwired to find pleasure in the familiar. Well, hardwired to find pleasure, but adding in the familiar. Okay, obviously what we know, we're comfortable with anyway because we're familiar with it.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Cool. Yeah, no, self-explanatory.
Because again,
yeah.
no, it just feels like that's almost like a subject by itself. But let's move on.
Cool.
Without beauty, time must be your ally. So again, it's talking about being unattractive or being not your object of affections type, or being non-traditional in beauty, as it stated. When it said time must be your ally, it's talking about, again, developing yourself, developing your personality, understanding and having patience that this person has to discover those things in you to find a reason to love you. So I like that statement as well, that point. Without beauty, time must be your ally.
Yeah.
Even though time makes you older as well and you become less attractive.
which is what I first thought it was saying.
I know,
I thought it was saying basically, if you're butters, run out the clock. So everyone else at your age is pretty much on the same level of butterness as you, because
The term butters, for anyone that doesn't know, look it up on Urban Dictionary, it just means ugly.
Yeah.
Right? English term, right? English slang?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have no idea where that came from, but that was
It means butt her face. She's alright, butt her face. Butters.
I think you came up with the word. One must be careful not to rush into the seduction. Would you understand the seduction? Just the term. Is that winning the affection of somebody? Seduction? Winning the attention?
Seduction, seducing.
It's above. It's beyond just attention.
You can
isn't it?
you can put it different ways. Wooing, romancing, making, building attention and building
towards yourself,
and like alluring, kind of, drawing someone into you. It's usually sensual or sexual. Seduction's inherently sexual and sensual.
Mystery is a big part of it, but we'll talk about that later if it comes up. As in being mysterious.
Maybe we will.
Being mysterious makes you more attractive as a person, because then there's more to discover about you, more to find out about you, and people become more curious.
Yeah.
Okay, but to be patient and allow the object loved to overbalance and overcommit. So this is what we were saying about allow them to kind of catch up with you first, and then basically for them to give a little bit more than you're giving.
Yeah.
And I'll finish off. And then to be drawn into the web of love, which is the point where they're saying...
The web of love sounds kind of creepy, like it's some type of spider's web.
Again, it's words. But again, the idea is like a spell, isn't it? Because again, you fall in love. Why do they say you fall? Why don't they say you get up in love? Why don't you say you get high in love?
Some people get up in love.
You know
a lot of people get up in love. That's how babies are made. Sorry.
But again, you wait for...
But they say fall in love because it's almost involuntary. Because you don't choose to fall. No one chooses to fall.
Well,
you just fall.
Yeah, you don't choose who you love, right? You don't choose who you love. It's just basically you have an idea about what you think you want.
True, you can't choose who you fall in love with, but I think you can.
But you can choose who you give it to.
Yes, and you can also choose all the other factors, like proximity, for example.
Well done.
I'm cool. You can choose who you choose to be around. That's your decision to make. If you start falling for someone and you know that they're going to be bad for you, you've seen what their track record is with partners, and you see that person's going to really be a bad influence in my life, but I'm falling for them. It's difficult. It's easier said than done, but to take yourself out of the situation or to detach yourself from that person and take away that proximity is really, for you in the long run, the better thing to do, because you know that you're taking something, a potentially negative, corrosive person out of your life, Because even people who are like self-destructive or negative, they get people love them, and then that kind of bleeds across. So it is sometimes you do have to separate yourself from the situation.
And going back to the idea of proximity as well, and the idea of value, which we spoke about, as in valuing yourself and allowing others to discover the value of you in their lives. Once you, let's say, put in a little bit of effort, you make your intentions clear with somebody, and then you remove the proximity to them as well, that actually draws them closer to you as well.
Yeah, it's the absence that makes the heart go fonder.
If they're interested in you in some respect, because they will miss you, and they'll wonder what happened, where have they gone, where is this attention gone?
And this is economics. This is sounds so cold, but
no, but you're right.
Supply and demand. It's basically, if someone gives you everything at once, you're kind of like, well, I've got more of it than I know what to do with it, and now I've got it. There's no tension. There's no chasing. There's no no pursuing.
It's why diamonds and platinum, etc., is so expensive,
because
it's
little
rare.
of it. Yeah.
So
if
again,
it was
the more
everywhere,
rare you are,
it's like if diamonds were as common as sand.
Yeah.
People, or if you swapped them, people would be wearing sand in their jewelry. Let's continue. It's interesting though, because it sounds really cold and calculated, but it's the reality of it. Is if you put everything on a plate,
It's 100% true though, because
It
again,
diminishes the value of
the
it.
idea of living in someone's pocket, I think is the
Or
term.
wrapped around the little finger.
Well, that's different.
Yeah, but it's because you've given
Sorry.
someone given someone else
Let me
self-control.
rephrase it. Let me
Go
rephrase
on.
it. Living out of each other's pockets, as in when you're never away from the
Well, like
person.
joined at the hip.
Joined at the hip. That's another good term, actually. When you spend a lot of time, a lot of relationships fail because they don't give each other time to grow outside of the relationship. So they get swamped in a relationship, and they become so infatuated with spending time that they actually lose, let's call it the control of, or the identity of who they are outside of the relationship. And then something goes sour and one person falls out of love with the other. And then before you know it, that relationship fails. And that happens a lot. And then people wonder, well, what happened? What happened? Like, what did I do wrong? Without realizing, you know what? Going back to scarcity, going back to not being as available all the time. As in, again, you might spend a little bit more time with the person when you first get together, or let's call it when you first move in even. But you know what? You've got a life, and you had a life before you met this person. Get on with your life.
Yeah.
And go make yourself complete, and then come back and bring your completeness to the relationship and share that shit. Oh, I swore. Swear.
I'll drink to that.
Share that with the person
Shit.
that you're both complete first, and then you come together to share that beauty, to share that.
A partner should be a complement to your life. It shouldn't complete
100%.
your life.
100%.
And people who are looking for someone else to complete them will never be complete because they're relying on something outside of them to be complete. But you've got to figure yourself out first and stop trying to plug that hole in your soul with another human being. You've got to really resolve your issues and resolve what you need to resolve. And that's 100 times more attractive. To find someone who's secure and complete in themselves and doesn't need anyone else is the most attractive damn thing in the world. Where you're like, holy crap, this person doesn't need me and I don't need them, but we want each other. We choose to have each other in each.
Because again, you don't even need to want them. But when you choose, you say, you know what, every morning I wake up, I choose to be with you.
Yeah.
I choose to love you. I
Not
choose
obligation.
to spend time with you. Rather than,
not like this is the best this is going to get, or
I need you, or I want you.
Or it's too much effort running the game again and like going back on the battlefield and trying to.
Because again, there's a lot of terms that are like, they're nice and they're romantic or whatever when we read them or we see them in films and stuff. But when you actually look at gain clarity on
like what?
Like, oh, I really want you. I really want you. I really want you. Nah. Because when you're saying I want is, it's a term without control. Again, it's like saying, it's almost like an infatuation.
It's like succumbing to desire.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing.
No, what I'm saying is,
I'm pretty sure I've been in situations where like, I want to spend more time with you. I wouldn't say I want you.
No, I'm saying to that level of passion where you say, I really want you. I really want you. You never say to your friend, I really want to spend time with you. You just say, I really should spend more time with you. I really want to spend more time with you. I need to spend more time with you because of the value that you realize in that friendship. Yeah. But I'm saying when you have that infatuation of, I want to be with you. I want to be with you. That's a whole nother level. And what I'm saying to you is, in that respect, it's a choice. As in, when you get to a higher level of love, you say, no, I choose to have you in my life because I see the value in you, rather than I need you or I want you. Because again, you're like, without you, I'm incomplete.
Need and want are different.
They are different. No, they're 100% they're different. But I'm saying choice, need and want are different. Choose, want and need are different.
Yeah. That's why they're different words. Need, need is like, for me, it's like a toxic. It's like a no. It's like a, you don't, if you need someone else, it's because you're not complete in yourself, right?
Yeah, I need water. I need air.
I think wanting, though, I don't think wanting is so, it depends on, if you say you want something, you recognize that it's a desire, and ultimately you decide which desires you satisfy. So that's why I don't mind saying want. Okay. I want to spend more time with this girl. I want to have more memories with her. For me, or I want to spend more time with my friends. To me, want is not toxic.
Okay.
It depends on the context and how it's said.
I see where you're coming from. Okay.
But the need is the toxic bit for me. But wanting is like, sometimes you can want something, but if you don't get it, you're not completely wrecked about it. You're just like, okay, I didn't get what I wanted. Some people can't stand when they don't get what they want. You know, some people are like that. But it depends on your relationship to wanting. Like, I want things in my life, but if I don't get them, it doesn't put a brick wall up. It doesn't screw me up. But some people really get chewed up when I really wanted that fire truck for Christmas and mum and dad never got it for me. I really wanted...
That's a kid though.
But okay. I really wanted to be with her and she broke up with me. I really wanted to be with him, but he broke up with me. Yeah, it depends on how fixated are you on your wants.
But you were with them though.
Okay, well, okay, so we can even take it a step further removed of, I want to be in a relationship with this person.
Okay, but let me give you more perspective on where I was coming from, because
But you get what
no,
you get what
that's
I'm
what I'm saying.
coming
I get where you're coming from, but
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of what I said without explaining and giving you context,
Yeah.
I understand now why you're kind
You
of
dumb.
you bringing that to my shots fired. I understand why you bring that to me. Okay, so I'm going back to
I love
episode.
him. I love him really.
I'm going back to episode 2
my boy.
about universal laws. Okay, so when I say choose, when you want something, you can't want something and have it. Period.
What you want is usually not what you can have.
No, what you want is normally what you don't have. That's why you want it.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't want
That's
something
what I'm
you
saying.
have.
It's two different frames of mind, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, in the, let's call it art or science of winning love, or basically manifesting in your life what you want.
Yeah.
If you say I want, you're pushing it away because
You're creating distance.
Yeah, because by wanting it, you're not having it, and you can't have it because
Well, it's kind of like the pursuit of happiness. It's kind of like the pursuit of completion. It's not something you can want to be complete. You can't want to feel whole. Because the more you want it, the more distance it is. Like there's something that's stopping me from getting there. But it's figuring out how you're already there and resolving all the issues that are stopping you from
which is
seeing
why I'm
that.
saying choose. Yeah. So when I say
Yeah.
I choose to love you,
Ah,
I choose to be
Soft
happy.
get.
I choose to find a better job. All those kind of things.
Yeah.
When you're saying I choose, you're already living in the frequency and the energy of that direction, and you're moving towards it with a lot more velocity than you are by saying I want. Because when you're saying I want, like you say, there's much more
Yeah, you're
distance
creating
and you're pushing
distance.
away.
I get
That's
you.
why, I should have said more, but that's why I was saying choose is a much better word than need or want.
Sure.
Because when you say I choose, you're in control.
Yeah.
And again, you might not
It's
get
like two
it,
different tiers. No, I hear what you're saying. It's
but
reasonable.
you're
I
more
don't-
likely to get something that you choose
Yeah.
then, and again, I'm being general.
Yeah,
Again, I
I'm
might
with
choose
you.
to be with this person, but if you choose to be with that type of person, go general, then a better person or the same kind of person will come along.
Yeah.
Because when you put yourself in that frequency, boom, you attract.
I'm with you. It's almost like a need is a lack, right?
Yes.
A want is a desire driven, or like it's almost like involuntary.
Mm-hmm.
When you want something, want implies involuntary. Yeah, I don't have a choice over what I want. Yeah, or something appeals to you that's beyond you. You can't stop it from appealing to you, and you want it. It's involuntary. One of them ones, right? But choosing basically implies within it your free will is controlling what you put in your life. So you've almost got lack, then you've got slave to your desires. Desires are not necessarily, you can't say blanketly desires are a bad thing, but it's just that you are everything. Want implies that desires control you. You are run by your desires, and your choice, your free will, is secondary to your desires, which is why I get what you're saying. And then choosing is basically the highest level of that, which is it's willful. Right? Does that make sense? You agree with that? I get where you're coming from as well, though. I think those are important distinctions to make.
Respect.
I can't even take that back.
Next chapter. Next chapter is
done
called Service to Others. You can only win love by being something. We spoke about that earlier on.
Sure.
Because if you aren't anything, then who's going to love you for being nothing?
Yeah.
If you wish to be loved, you must live your own life. So again, this is us talking about self-development.
Or you live for yourself and for not like selfishly.
No, exactly what you said. You don't live for somebody else.
Yeah, but you live. Yeah.
You live for yourself, and then you allow others to be part of that, rather than like say, I'm incomplete without you.
Yeah. You gotta live for your own happiness, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Before making other people happy. Otherwise, it's the whole cup floweth over, and then it fills up their cups. Yeah.
And the more full and complete the life, the more love you will win.
Yeah.
And again, that's going back to the idea of
that.
fill up yourself first, or develop yourself first, or develop yourself further
Yeah.
in order to attract what you want to win.
People who usually don't have, again, I'm going to get maybe a whole bunch of people on the internet going, oh my God, how can you say that? Dislike. You don't know my life. How can you judge me? You don't know. And I'm not talking about you, I'm speaking very broadly, very generally, but people who don't get those experiences in their life tend to be concentrating their energies outwards and not concentrating it inwards on what they need to resolve in themselves, the things they need to improve about themselves, the things that they want to work on. Not for people to love you. First of all, it's not about winning love with other people. It's about working on
Making yourself
being
more
something
lovable.
that you love. Be what you love. And if you're not there already, and everyone's in a state of progress, but you just get closer, it's almost like you'll never get, or no one will ever get to that last finish point, but it's just closer and closer to perfection. So you just keep pushing for it. You just keep striving for getting closer to who you want to be and what your life is about. and love will come with it. But people just want love now without having to work on themselves for it. You know, it's like
Okay, stop looking at the camera so much. Make a point, but don't look at it so much. Your true self is someone who is so connected with their greatness and with their purpose, and who is so stands in the fullness of who they are, who you are, that love is drawn to you with effortless ease and certainty.
sounds like my Saturday nights.
Your true self. It's talking about your true self. Your true self is when you're in alignment with yourself.
Yeah.
When you are who you are without kind of like, say, putting up facades and fronting. And basically when you're just saying, hey, this is me, love me or leave me.
Yeah.
And then you attract what basically you are putting out, which is a beautiful thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Make the most of yourself for others is the last statement in that chapter that I've highlighted. Make the most of yourself for others. I think that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, okay.
As in, again, you're not doing it for others. You're doing it for yourself first and foremost. But the more you make of yourself, the more lovable you become because you're more. But
the more value you have to bring to the people around you.
Yeah.
Because the more value you've developed in yourself to share.
Yeah. Be something. So I think this is now going into the idea of being more. What wins love is personality. So it is. Okay, so this is quite a long statement. I think it's one of the most wonderful statements in the entire book because I've highlighted quite a lot of it. So I'm just going to read the whole thing and then we can discuss it.
It's a lot, but okay, let's just hear it first and take it from there.
It's like a story. The young man makes the most of himself. Dara wears the best clothes he can obtain, and tries in every way to present the appearance of a strong and attractive personality. If he sees faults and weaknesses in his sweetheart, he does not call her attention to them or try to correct them. He focuses only on her strengths, only on that which is most beautiful in her. He develops a blissful, positive myopia regarding his beloved that becomes self-fulfilling and totally gratifying. Dara makes the very most of himself. He becomes a better man so that she will desire to please him. Dara becomes possessed by an energy fueled with dopamine and testosterone and by what seems to be his very soul. And he uses that energy to evolve himself, becoming more in each moment and increasing his ability to impress the one he loves. He knows that if he can make himself worth pleasing, she will do her best to please him. And so he sets out to develop a fine, masculine, chivalrous, accomplished and noble personality.
Okay. That was interesting.
I don't think you paid attention to any of it.
Huh?
I don't think you paid attention to any of it.
To what?
Exactly.
It's interesting.
Again, I love the fact that it's saying, focus on yourself, work on yourself. Even if you see flaws and faults in somebody else, don't point them out on it. Just focus on their strengths, because what you look for in other people, you will see more of. What you believe to be in other people, you can find evidence of it.
It reminds me of Indian culture. So very strongly in Indian culture, they're like, get married, 20s, early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s. Get married then. And basically, you'll have a partner for life who will be there to support you in your hard times and encourage you to be the best that you can be in your good times. So if we take the Indian culture out of it for a moment and just think of companionship, long-term companionship, that's definitely one of the most beautiful and valuable and resounding positive outcomes of the relationship, is that you're there for each other in the hard times, through thick and thin, sickness and health. It's like, the fact is you're there for each other through the hard times, but the fact is you ideally should push each other to be the best you both can be, even forget marriage aside, just a truly loving, deep relationship is that you want the best for the other person, you want the person to be happy, you want them to flourish and blossom and be the most that they can be, and you're there to be that, those words of encouragement, the words of support, words of advice, words of guidance, and words of just unbiased and non-judgmental kind of attention, and that is, I think that sums it up.
Dara is currently available on Tinder in your local area.
And yeah, no, I think it's it kind of touches on that, and I think a lot of people want that.
Of course.
I think a lot of people want that, but again, it's not about becoming complete. It just, I'm not advocating having a deep relationship. I'm not advocating having the life of a singleton. It's like each person to their own and where they are in their lives. But that's definitely one of the strongest points of being the relationship. Is just that sharing the beauty and the drive for an ambition. Like, you would want to be with a partner who supports your ambition and your drive.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? It's a bit of redundant. It's like a bit of, it's like almost like it doesn't need saying. It's kind of a given, but
I say it's
one of the best
you're on the
things
same
about
path
it.
or you're not on the same path. If you're not on the same path, get out of there.
Yeah,
Cause it's not
or
gonna work for you.
even
You're not
it's
gonna
like
do
you can walk the same road, have two completely different experiences, but just be there to egg each other on. You're like driving side by side on the same road, and your paths can diverge.
That sounds illegal.
You're not sitting in the same car.
And I know that sounds illegal, unless if you're on a motorway or dual carriage.
Like dual carriage. Right?
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. And you're just there to just honk the horn every now and then. Keep
Oi,
going.
oi.
You're right, gorgeous. How you doing, love?
Yo, my thighs.
Hey, painting.
Okay.
Go on.
Next chapter.
Yeah.
Master the Science of Being Rich. Now, again, The Science of Being Rich was a term and a book written by Wallace D. Wattles back in the 1900s, early 1900s. But again, this is obviously talking about being wealthy, part of the personality trait that I spoke about earlier on. So the first line is, grow your own store of wealth through entrepreneurial pursuits. I like the idea that it doesn't say just get a job. I think the idea of entrepreneurial...
Get a job.
The idea, you sound like an advert.
Yeah.
The idea of entrepreneurial pursuits is the idea of being able to make residual income, which is an income where you do something once and you keep getting paid for it, and finding more than one way to bring an income towards you in your direction.
Yeah, multiple streams of revenue.
And it's possible for anyone, so don't say you can't do it because you can. All you've got to do is put your mind to it, and you've got to understand, what skills do I have, what value can I bring to other people, and then how can I make my value or my niche scarce so that people want it even more, and then they'll come to you. The more in demand you are, the more you can charge. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. And I'm not talking about, a lot of business people will understand it straight away, but a lot of people don't understand that the moment you start to gain, let's call it kudos, in your career, and suddenly you are not off limits, but you are unavailable, people will pay more for you if you tell them, okay, you know what, I can do it, but, and you double charge them or whatever. And if they really want you and they don't want anyone else and they can't wait, they'll be like, yeah, fine, I'll pay it.
Why?
Because you've got what they want. Again, it's going back to the idea of needs.
Yeah, but either way you have what they want, but there's something more there.
Because I'm attractive.
Scarcity.
We said that.
Yeah, and the fact that your time...
Yeah, you're putting a value on your time.
Your time is as valuable as you make it.
Yeah, which is why people get overtime.
I mean, you build your way up. Don't just think that you jump to this higher level, this higher tier of, I think I'm worth $1 million, or I think I'm worth £1,000 a minute.
Yeah, you can't.
But why is no one giving me £1,000 a minute?
Again,
you earn your stripes. You develop your skills. You
build.
Work your way up. You learn the market. But there are opportunities there, and you just got to figure out what's your route to it. And it comes to a point where you've got a level of skill. You've got a skill set supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the skills that somebody wants, and you've got a level of autonomy and the realization of, wait a minute, I should be charging this much for my time based on the skills that I have.
Yeah, so master your craft first.
Yes.
And start at a reasonable level.
Yeah.
Of, let's call it, charge or income.
I mean, we've both done work that in a field that we love doing for free to further
I still do.
Yeah. Exactly. To build your portfolio, to build your body of work, to build your
and because it's important to give back to the community and to the young people.
Yeah, it's not all about money.
It's not all about money. Happiness is not about money, period. But it's not all about money, yeah. But when you get to the level where obviously you can charge more because you are more in demand, and like you say, you put a value on your time that you're giving up. You could work 3 hours a day, but if those 3 hours a day are the only the only hours that you work, that's another form of scarcity where you say, okay, you know what? If you want me, it's going to cost you this much because the rest of the day I'm not working because I'm doing my voluntary work, or because I'm giving back to the community, or because I'm looking after my mum, or whatever it might be. But the fact is that when you can build that mentality in your head first of all, and you've mastered that skill and that craft, that only you or very few people like you can do this thing, suddenly you can jump up. Why do you think people get paid, when I say people, like artists and stuff get paid so much money to go out and do concerts.
If you think about it, yeah,
when you think of ticket prices in the concerts,
like, 2 hours, an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours of their time, they're bringing a skill set that people want to see, that people enjoy, and the operators of the venue want to fill that stadium, fill that town hall, fill that venue with as many people as they can. And so,
but as you're saying, put the because again, you look at, when you talk about concerts, we look at obviously the staff that run the venue and stuff, the marketing, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but again, there's a fee.
lot of people's livelihoods bounce off of that as well.
Of course, as in that one person is responsible for all those people almost. But
there's pressure.
You do pay the artist, as in part of your ticket price goes to the artist. The artist gets a check, a cut from it. But nobody can sing and perform a Michael Jackson track like Michael Jackson, which makes him so unique and so rare that he can only be one place, one time performing.
Yes, yeah.
As in person, when you're actually feeling and seeing him live. You can put him on a screen somewhere else. It's not the same as seeing him in person. And that's why if he charges £70 a ticket to be in Wembley or whatever, and you want to go see him, even if you're right at the back, you'll pay that ticket. And again, it's that idea of you can make money if you start to think of money differently, as in the way you earn money differently. Don't put it on your boss, don't put it on your company, don't put it on the world around you. Tell yourself, okay, you know what, this is who I'm going to be, this is what I want, and this is what I want to earn from this. And then let me change that. This is who I am, this is what I do, and this is what I choose to charge. And then work your way up to that. Don't, like you say, don't expect it straight away, but work your way up to it, because it's possible, but you've got to create that.
You've got to be committed.
You've got to be a commodity. You've got to create that scarcity at that value level and that kind of that level of skill before you can get paid that amount of money.
It's actually in one of, so the guy who wrote, who he was channeling, what's the name?
Wallace D. Wattles.
That's the one. In one of his books, he says, always add more value than what you're being paid for. So
always give more than you expect to receive.
That's the one. So if you've got a skill set, your skill set should exceed what is expected of you. And the fact is, you're actually giving more than your money's worth. But the point is, you ask for, you have in your mind a visualization of how much is your time worth or how much you want. But the fact is, wherever you set that bar, the effort and the energy and your commitment to developing a skill set should exceed that amount of money, because if it's what you love doing and it's your passion or whatever it is, that should be the extra mile that you go for keeping the customer.
Again, when you say adding value, it's not about selling an extra car or giving people more stuff. Then value can be as simple as being polite. Or it could be as simple as giving advice.
Good customer service.
Yeah, because value, there is no kind of one thing that value is. Value is what can I identify in another person that they will see value in, that I'm not including in my price. And when you give them that, then you become even more valuable to the person that you're working for or working with or whatever. And it's suddenly boom. And now that goes back to the point I wanted to make earlier that I forgot. So if I can just shoot that in quickly.
That's disgusting.
We were talking about being lovable. And what came to my mind was, most of the time, we're so either infatuated or thinking about ourselves or thinking about the other person in the respect of, again, ourselves. I want, I choose, I need, whatever. That we forget to remember that we don't know how that person chooses to be loved. And you can't ask somebody, how do you want to be loved? Because no one's ever going to give you a proper answer to that question, really. They might give you an answer, they might be honest with you, but it's very rare if they're going to actually tell you, okay, these are all the things that if you do these things, I will be loved. When we understand that, again, it's a journey, it's a process of discovery to find out what makes this person tick, and to understand that there is a certain way to love each person individually.
And the compass of that journey is?
Scarcity.
Feeling.
Yeah.
Because what you think and what you feel sometimes are completely polar opposite. And it's like sometimes...
The mind and the heart, yeah.
You think you want something, but sometimes what you feel, what someone makes you feel, isn't what you thought would make you feel that. And it's very hard to rationalize emotions.
That's why communication is so important. Because again, you said earlier on about talking. And I said that is so important when you actually spend time talking to somebody. You're going to learn so much when you actually ask certain questions to somebody. And it's about paying attention and really kind of understanding what do they mean. It's not about what you hear, it's about what do they mean by what they said. Because you might not even...
Subtext.
You might not even understand or get the same meaning that they gave it out to you in. Until you ask more questions. So you really understand. So what does it mean to be loved? And when you can get to that level, then you can really love somebody hard.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Swiftly.
The one who truly loves shall do whatever it takes to win love. Standard?
Okay.
Sure. The act of increasing your wealth. That was just a point I just highlighted. Obviously, we're talking about that anyway. You have the opportunity to create uplifting experiences for them of which you become a part. I think that's pivotal. So the more I can...
Say that again, but slowly.
You have the opportunity... So when you're wealthy, when you have a certain level of abundance...
When you're balling, when you got dough.
You don't even have to have that much, though.
I know.
You have to have...
when your basic needs are met, Maslow's hierarchy
what's it called?
needs.
Disposable income.
Okay. Yeah.
You have the opportunity to create uplifting experiences for them of which you become a part. So again, this is the association thing. So if I can increase the levels of dopamine in the object of my desire, I can make them feel happy in my presence. They will relate the feeling of happiness with my presence. And the more you can do these things with other people, it's like when we go on holiday, we associate the feeling of that holiday and those good times with the people that we're with. So we'll never kind of be like, oh, you know what, I'm not going to go on holiday with you guys again.
Yeah.
You feel like, you know what, I want to do it again.
Yeah, it's like, when we go on holiday, it's like the feelings
Yeah, we
that...
did.
It was
4 times.
Immense. It's like, if the people you go on holiday with, those feelings that you share with those people around you is what you remember feeling as the holiday. If you were there on your jacks...
Very different experience.
Yeah, and you would have a
Very
completely different memory of it.
Yeah.
But the people you're with really make... The people you're with, the company you keep, and the company you have really makes the experience of wherever you are. Yeah, you can be anywhere in the world doing anything, but it's the people you've got with you. It's not saying you need anyone to complete you. It depends on what the journey is and what the event and activity is. But like for example, when we've been on holiday, I have such positive memories about it.
5 stars.
Amazing. 7. But it's because of the people that I shared it with. I think if I was there on my jacks or with people who are miserable and complaining and they would have soured a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah.
And the fact is, the people, when I think back on it, I feel so good about that memory of that holiday. But it's because of who I shared it with, And I guess it's like the same thing with, for example, school, college, uni, or certain workplaces, is that I've always felt this, is that it doesn't matter, after a certain point, it's not what you're getting paid at a job. It's like sometimes you can be paid millions and millions, but if you really hate your colleagues, if you really don't get along with your team, you're going to hate every day going to work, no matter how much you're paid. You're being paid to be tortured. If you really enjoy the company of the people you work with, or you find a way to connect with them, even if you don't completely see eye to eye, but you have a kind of shared ground, or you make the effort to compromise, blah, 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 then you can have such a positive experience that you're happy to go to work, because you're like, well, actually, you know what? For all whatever downsides there may be, I actually really enjoy working alongside these people, or sitting next to that person, or working along, So yeah, so that holiday wouldn't have been the same without the people who were involved with it.
And where did you ask me to go on holiday next?
Several places.
No.
Thailand?
No. A weekend in...
Damn.
Yeah. Now, I've been to Amsterdam 7 times already. And as soon as you said it, I was like, again, really? But the reason why I've been so many times to Amsterdam is, 1, because the other person hasn't necessarily been there before. But 2, it's because of the experience. Because every single time I've been there, after the first couple of times, when I'm comfortable with it, I know it, I've seen it already, I've had the experience. But every time you go with somebody different, it's a whole nother experience.
Yeah, 100%.
And that experience can be better, it can be worse. But the fact is, it's a new experience and a new opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm always like, okay, you know what? Fine, we'll go.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Because
it's the experience. It's the experience. That's why I don't like it when people say to me, oh, no, I've already been to the zoo. Why am I going to go to the zoo again? Yeah, but you've never been with me. Okay.
And you know what's crazy as well? You can go some amount of time apart. You can go back with the same person and have a completely different experience because of how far you guys have come. Yeah. It might be like, I'm thinking of Turkey and Morocco, right? Especially with Dak. But with Dak, it's like the first time we went.
Dak is a group of friends.
There you go. So with Dak, right, the first time we went, it was awesome. And the second time it was like, some of the guys, we've been there before. Why do you want to go again? Blah, blah, blah. But the point is that
we're not pointing any fingers.
Yeah. You know who you are. Jin and Connie.
Bruv.
Your house. But the point is that each time you go, you're a different person. You get a completely different experience out of it. And even one person in the group coming or leaving the group will change the dynamic of it. So.
And let's just make it very clear: we're not going back to the same place and the same hotel. Okay, we are going to a
like
different place.
like different. Yeah,
yeah, it's the experience.
Mix it
it's
up.
the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you say, you don't say, "Oh, I've already been home today. I'm not going back home again."
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Anyways.
Okay.
Clearly, some unresolved issues that we need to.
When you consistently create the feeling of heightened psychological arousal in your presence, the object of your affection shall find themselves feeling drawn to you in a manner that is very instinctive, subconscious, and passionate. Now, again, going back to what we just spoke about, it's exactly the same thing that they're saying. But I always feel like when you spend extended periods of time with people, they tend to last longer in your life. So anyone that I've, let's say, been on holiday with, except for ex-girlfriends, they're still in my life now. Because for some reason, because we've got that similarity, we've got that connection, we had that proximity where you've actually lived with them and you can kind of live with them for a period of time. It's almost like you have a connection and a bond that outlives other kind of experiences, like just being at work in proximity with people that you have to be with. You made the choice to go on holiday with these people, or you made the choice to spend an extended period of time with a person, even at your house or, in your area or whatever. Like the kids that you grow up with, the people you grow up with and stuff. You tend to kind of stick with those that you spend more time with.
Yeah.
Because of heightened arousal. As in, what I'm saying is...
That felt shoehorned.
What I'm saying is that...
You're like, you said you're bit and you're like, and because of heightened arousal... No, come on,
because I'm going back to the book. But because obviously through the time you spend with these people, you have some amazing experiences.
True.
You associate those amazing experiences with the presence of your company.
Yeah.
And then you say, you know what? I like the experiences that we had.
Yeah.
Like we had today that we're not going to talk about. And then we always kind of laugh back at it because, you know what? We had good times in the past. I'm sure more will come in the future. And again, we're projecting ahead. Yeah. So we're saying in the book, having wealth opens doors to opportunities to create experiences with somebody that actually makes them feel something that they associate with yourself. This is why, like, when you date a guy or a girl and you keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, i.e. going to restaurants or going to bars or whatever, it's very boring. It gets very boring. Very quickly.
Routine is mood kill, buzz kill.
Again, experience is great and stuff, but when you're trying to increase and heighten arousal in somebody, you've got to do different things. You've got to create different experiences, and you've got to see them in a different light.
It comes back to dopamine as well, because it's interesting that you mentioned that, right? So, for example, there's people in my life, there's good friends, or it might even be a partner, who I don't see as frequently as I'd like. So sometimes you just want to have...
Is there something you're not telling me? What's her name?
So
What's her name?
sometimes...
Oh,
What's in the box?
That's why you're
What's
going
in the box?
That's why you're going to Egypt tomorrow, Sunday.
So it's like sometimes you just want to have a solid catch up with a mate or a partner. Maybe imagine a long distance relationship, and then
I don't want to do that.
Okay. So imagine there's two university students on a long distance relationship, and every 2 weeks one of them goes to the other, and they just sit in a coffee place and talk and catch up, and just have a really quality kind of face to face sit down. And it could be the same coffee place every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. But the point is that sometimes it's not the venue, it's just like that update. It's just that bring me...
Mm-hmm. Are we talking friends here?
Or it can be relationships as well, though. Because sometimes you just want to have a catch up just to
but
re-synchronize with the other person's life.
How far can you... Let's call
you can't... there'll be a point where that's not enough.
A relationship, because again, you're only seeing one
proximity.
Side.
There's only so long you can do that before it's like, okay, all we do is to have these catch ups, but we need to be more active parts in each other's lives. I want to wake up next to you.
Different things.
I want to live my life with you. But that's what it comes to. You know what I mean? If you're doing long distance, it's because you want to get to that point.
You need to go on adventures.
People don't do long distance with mess arounds. People do long distance because they see something they're worth sticking around for. Otherwise they wouldn't bother. And then same thing with friends as well. Like sometimes you can go to the same bar every 2 weeks or a month and just have a catch up with your friends and just say, what's happening, updates in life and blah blah blah. And it's not necessarily the monotony of the place that you're at, but it's just having an update on the lives that they're going.
I think the monotony comes though if the conversation is the same.
Yes.
But if you're going and the conversation is different, you're updating and you're progressing, that's interesting, because like I say, then it's acceptable with friends that you go and do this to keep that connection. I was going to say severed. To keep that connection tethered.
Tethered, I don't know. 100%,
But if you go every 2 weeks, whatever. And like I say, this conversation is very much, oh, I hate my boss, I hate my job, I hate my life.
If you hear the same shit
It
every
gets
time, it's the same thing in a
very,
relationship. It grinds on you.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
wears you down because you're like literally you're not moving anywhere. You're not, you want the other person to do well in life and you want the other
Yeah.
person to be happy, but you're like you're choosing to stay in the same state without addressing any of the issues or without trying to progress, and it can be really frustrating for the other person.
And for you.
Yeah. That's what I meant, but yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, let's continue. Let's go through the book. Come on.
It's important that
Is
you...
that empty?
Yeah.
It's all-
That's why it's filled with ice waiting. No, because
That's-
my ice is melting because it's taking you so long
Drink
to...
rehydrate for a minute. I can't
Commercial break.
figure out how much I've actually poured in there. If there's shit in there already.
It's important that you both continue to associate your relationship with good things. That's a quote by Elaine Hatfield and William Woolstar. I don't know how they both quote that, but anyway.
At the same time, they both said it at the same time, and then one of them said jinx, and then it was wrong.
It must come from a book or something that they both authored. But again, I do like the idea that with any relationship, not just with a romantic relationship, but with any relationship, you want to associate it with good things and good times.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I say, a lot of people, they get content, they get, what do we call it? Comfortable. Complacent. And that can be very boring and monotonous. And
It is.
I hate to say it, but we see it in a lot of old folk. A lot of old folk where they got content with their life and suddenly now they're regretting the decisions that they made early on.
What's your idea of old folk? What's your idea of old? What does old mean to you when you say old folk?
Anybody that is kind of older than me.
You ageist.
I'm talking about people that
You're
are
an
kind of,
ageist.
let's call it on the way out of their career and their job lifespan or whatever.
Alright.
And they're kind of in retirement
Same
age,
thing, right?
And they're moving towards basically, okay, now I've got the rest of my life to live, but I've got no work and no job to have.
Okay, so let's
What
say
I'm
end of
saying
their
is
career,
focus.
not the end of the lifespan, because people don't kick the
End of
bucket.
their
They've got
working-
retirement.
End of their working life.
End of their working life.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, cool.
And like I say, people that have settled too early on in their life and basically got comfortable in the routine and rhythm of
Yeah, I'm with you.
work, looking after kids, maybe try and go on holiday once a year if they're lucky, and then back to the routine again of, this and this, and this. Suddenly
Yeah.
the life goes by them, and then that's it. And they're like, oh man. And they look back and they say, where did the time go? But if every day you wake up and you're looking for those adventures and you're trying to create these experiences, not only for the other person, but more so for yourself. And again, it's not about being selfish. It's about being selfless. It's about being a creator and saying, you know what? If it's good for me, it's good for you. And if you're willing to do it, I'm going to do it. Let's do it. Because those moments are what slow time down
Yeah.
and expand you and make you more. And again, this is going back to all the things that we've already talked about already.
Yeah.
And make you more attractive, make you more interesting, make you more exciting.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like, it's not only just how do you get into a relationship, how do you win someone's love, it's how do you keep someone's love? How do you maintain that, the passion and the intensity of a relationship?
By kissing.
Tongues or no tongues?
It depends on how late it is in the day.
And where you are.
And where
And
you
who's
are.
watching.
Yes. Having wealth is a very effective tool if you are seeking to win love.
I'll drink to that.
I don't think we can argue.
No, it
I
helps.
think women look for security in men.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is obviously a book for both men and women. So from the other perspective, I think a lot of men would love it, but still feel quite not inadequate,
Yeah.
that they couldn't provide the same as
Emasculated.
emasculated. However, from a man's point of view, women do seek security. If they're going to have your kids, then you've got to look after the kids. You've got to provide for the kids, especially if she's going to be out of work for 6 months, 9 months or whatever, and potentially look after the kid for the first year, whatever it might be. So it's like, having money, not only can you create these experiences, these uplifting, adventurous experiences that heighten her mood and her arousal for you, you've got to be able to provide for the future that you're building.
I agree with that, but the thing about that I like is the fact that it says it will help. It helps.
Yeah, it's not the one and all.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know.
Although some guys will think that.
Yeah.
She only wants me for my money. She only wants money. Sorry for you, guy.
Two of my best friends are married, guy and a girl. You never know in this day and age. Non-binary gender.
Two of your friends married a guy and a girl.
My friend,
Right.
who's a girl,
Right.
married my friend who's a guy,
Okay.
and she's always been the main breadwinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's been the stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
and it works for them.
But they're comfortable with that, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So you have to be happy with yourself, as we spoke about earlier. You have to be kind of in tune with yourself and know what you're...
And he's a great dad, and she's a great mother, and they're a positive family unit, and they're bringing a child into the world who receives the love that they need.
And they're doing what they want to do, the way they want to do it, which is
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. So it's like, to be fair, in this day and age,
Yeah, stigma. As in, people attach stigma to stuff because of stereotypes in our society.
yeah, that is gender roles that people need to be a certain way around. And to be honest, pretty much after a certain point, I think I would say like early 20s, mid 20s onwards, a lot of people above that age group, start seeing it more and more in this way of the traditional gender roles. But the younger you get, the less fixed it becomes. But again, there comes the whole...
I feel it's a generational thing as well, though.
Yeah.
As in the generations that are coming up now
are seeing it completely differently.
Well, partly ours as well compared to our parents, but the generations that are coming up now, see it completely differently.
And the only reason they see it differently is because the generations above, there were people who were willing and experimental enough to try these different types of arrangements, you know. Otherwise, they'd have no point of reference if no one had ever done it before, you know. Like the friends I'm talking about, the girl's my age and the guy's maybe a few years...
Yes, she is.
The guy's a handful of years older. And the fact is that they tried this arrangement, and it worked for them. But the younger generations would have no point of reference otherwise. So it's not to say that, it just started with the younger generation seeing it this way. There's people across the spectrum,
it's
you know
happened,
what I mean?
It's happened for eons.
Yeah.
But again, it's becoming more common.
It's like homosexuality, right? The reason I mention that is because there was a really sweet story I read about a couple. They were lesbians, and they'd been together for the entirety of their life. Entirety is a very strong word. It's like from the age of late teens, early 20s, and they're like 80 now, and they're finally having a civil, civil partnership. Yeah. And it's like, for the longest time, it's just like, they're just really good friends because that's the euphemism, blah, blah, blah.
And also because it wasn't socially acceptable for a very long time.
Yeah, so they had to hide it.
There's a stigma attached to it.
After 60 years of being together, they're actually having a civil partnership.
In the UK or somewhere else?
I think this is in Germany or somewhere in Europe. But it's just the sweetest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, two people who've committed their lives to each other, and they're finally able to...
But again, like talking about the first couple that you spoke about, they found their alignment and they stuck with it. They said, you know what, forget everyone else.
Yeah, forget the expectations and the norms.
I was so going to swear.
For us.
Forget everyone else. We're going to do what we want to do. And that's how you should live your life. Seduction. 1-page chapter. And the only thing I've got highlighted is, you must first invade their mental space.
That's disgusting.
I love that.
That's filthy.
I love that. Because again, this whole idea of, we're humans, and we're kind of attracted to the raw physical attraction of, the opposite of sex. I'm talking about both ways here.
Yeah.
And kind of the idea of sex comes into play and stuff. But when you put that completely to the side, I want to say like the only thing that's left, but like the main core of what a person is what they think. So if you can invade their mental spaces and get to really understand them, get to know them, but also share your, let's call it point of the world, view of the world with them as well, you're kind of like finding those connections, finding that similarity, and you can become on a winning streak by really spending that time to get to know somebody at that level.
Yeah. The phrase that comes to mind is lasting impressions. It's like if you meet someone and you really hit it off, like you could have 2 different one-night stands. The first one, you guys hook up, you do your thing, you go, there's nothing particularly memorable mentally about it. It just was a very physical act, and you just guys, you moved past it, you just forgot about it within a week or 2. But if there's something about you, or there's something about the person you're with that's incredibly memorable, then for weeks, months afterwards, you'll be like, wow, that was an experience because of the mental aspect, not just the physical.
I'm saying you can really change and warm to people just because of a conversation you have.
Yeah.
Because they bring to you something that you've never heard or never experienced before through that mental space or that mental sharing.
100%.
And I think that's why a lot of people do connect very easily, because they spend a little bit of time just having that conversation.
Yeah.
And
there's one conversation that opens the floodgates.
Hell yeah.
I'll drink to that.
Hell yeah.
But there's usually that one experience that really breaks the barriers of pretense and fronting, and you're like, wait, this is just another human being who's just actually pretty cool. And even friendships wise, you know what I mean, you meet someone for the first time, you're like, I don't really know them, I'll try and suss them out. But after a certain point, it's just like, wait, they're actually just
human being.
Yeah.
It's like that moment, I don't know if you've experienced it yet, but it's that moment when you look at your dad and you think to yourself, he was once me. in the respect that he was once my age,
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing, going through what I'm going through. And he had dreams, he had hopes, he had aspirations and stuff. And whether he made them or not, like, he's been through that. And to see basically what you're going to become by looking at your dad. And when I say what you're going to become, I'm not talking about what they've achieved. I'm talking more about kind of you will become older and you will become more, I don't want to say beaten down by the world, but you will become, as in you're not going to be as youthful as you are now. You're not going to have the same amount of energy as you have now. And
Sure,
stuff.
and that's a natural part of aging.
But it's like just to realize that your dad was also...
What were you saying about my dad?
Your dad was a child once.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Oh, shit.
And he's just like, yeah.
That's the sound effect.
It's just really like a touching feeling as well. Just to pause for a second and think like, wow, like, because you again, we get so wrapped up in our worlds that we just see them as what they are because they're so far ahead.
Yeah,
of
that's
us.
the only way we've ever known them.
Yeah, you never stop to think, hold on, once upon a time they had a life before me.
Yeah.
And they had a life before they even thought about me and stuff. And they were a kid. And again, we don't always have those conversations with our parents and say, so what happened when you were a kid? Or what did you want to be? Or, how did you go through your life and stuff when you were younger? You just think, you're doing your job and you bring home, you pay the rent or whatever, you look after this, you look after that, or whatever it might be. But you forget they were just like you once upon a time.
And it's very easy to see your parents as fixtures in your life, as in like they're there as part of the furniture in the house that some people take for granted, the food on the table, all these things. It's just like it's like they've always been there until they're not, and it's like you only see them as that age gap it's going to be a permanent constant. You can't ever transcend that. But the fact is, when you see a picture of your mum or your dad when they were young, and you're like, it's that first time you see that, and you're like, holy shit, you were young once. Like, but I know it's a very, very stupid thing to say out loud. But the thing is that realization never clicks with us that people we take for granted, as who are of a certain age, they were once in their youth having the same kind of, they've been through. And that's what's so valuable about listening. I know it sounds really soppy, but there's so much to learn from people who've been there, done that, got the t-shirt and lived it.
Like say, learn from other people's experiences.
People don't have patience for people in our generation and of the younger generations. It's just a part of youth where you take it for granted, the experience of those who've been through it. This is a very, very large maneuver off. This is a very large tangent, but I will point out, it's brief, but it's a large tangent, but I will point out a lot of people don't see that their parents have gone through a lot of the things that they've gone through, and you can either learn from your own mistakes or from others' mistakes. And a lot of the times when your parents are giving you advice, it's usually because they want you to avoid the mistakes that they made themselves. So it's all love.
So listen to them. Humor them.
No, make your own decisions, but understand.
But still,
understand why they're saying what they're saying.
Exactly. Appreciate the fact that, like you say, they've been through what you've been through.
But sometimes they've never. Sometimes they haven't necessarily even.
Yeah,
been
not
through.
Exactly the same thing.
But sometimes they're just trying to relate to you the best they can,
and just them taking the effort to relate to you is important.
Yeah, because some parents don't give a shit.
Beautiful thing, easy.
Yeah, some parents don't put it. So you got to appreciate when it comes.
Okay, next chapter is called The Inside Job.
I love you, Dad.
Which again goes back to
be the best,
working on yourself and focusing on yourself first, and then becoming more lovable, more attractive yourself.
Cool.
So the inside job, he was the solution. To the extent he could develop himself, he would be able to win the love of another.
Oh, was that? I thought there was more.
I'm sorry.
You set it up so
high. It was not a story. No, because I didn't do the voice.
Say it again.
Do you want me to start again?
No, just do. Yeah, you'll start again. Just to say it in normal voice.
Dara was the solution.
No. Don't be.
To the extent he could develop himself, he would be able to win the love of another. It's kind of repeating what I already said, but I like the fact that he said he was a solution. So again, you are the solution for you.
Yeah. And
that you're the one that's focused on working on yourself to become lovable rather than expecting someone to love you for what you are and who you are.
Exactly. And whoever it is, very generically, very broadly, stop expecting other people to make you better than who you are. Yeah. It's up to you and the effort that you put in to make yourself better.
They will help you change by their influence in your life. But you're the one that's responsible for your direction.
People will hold the door open, but no one can make you walk through it, is the best expression that I've heard of it.
And again, we're not saying you need to change for somebody else. We're saying that when you develop yourself, you become a lot more attractive because you've got drive, you've got ambition, you've got a willingness to grow and expand and to broaden your horizons. Yeah. And that makes you very appealing.
Yeah.
Very appealing.
100%.
And then you become a lot more passionate about your own life because you've got goals and you've got places to be, people to see, money to make. Anyway, fix your mind upon winning the love of that person.
Okay.
Again, going back to universal laws, thoughts, the idea of focusing your mind. So it says fix your mind upon winning. So the first and foremost is that you're not in competition with anybody else necessarily. But if you don't focus on, okay, I'm going to do this, then you're not going to get it as quickly and as easily as if you did focus on, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to put my effort into this.
Yeah.
Winning the love of that person. So again, winning the love of the person.
Yeah.
You're not expecting them to love you. You're saying, you know what? I will do whatever it takes to show this person who I am. It's not about changing for the person. It's showing them who you are.
I don't know.
No one's going to love you without knowing you.
True. I don't disagree with that. Say the state is sometimes it's the way it's phrased, but go on and say it
Fix
again.
your mind upon winning the love of that person.
If it's saying visualize that you've won
No, it's not saying that.
or have won or are winning the love of a
Yeah,
person.
it doesn't say when, it says winning.
Yeah, so focus on the outcome.
So it's the it's
don't
actions. It's the
question.
actions you're
do I-
taking. Your
it's
thoughts.
like don't question. Do you deserve the love?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just say that to yourself because it's like it's
Because
like,
you know you're lovable already, and you know that you have value, and you kind of agree that you are. I don't believe in what's it called? Not states and levels. What's that idea? Leagues. When they say you're out of that person's league. Whatever. I don't believe in leagues and stuff. But if you genuinely believe that this person and you are going to work, then if you focus on doing what you can to show this person who you are, by developing yourself, by becoming all you know you can be. Because again, everyone's got goals, but a lot of people are procrastinating in using their time wisely and efficiently and every day to achieve their own personal goals. That might be going to the gym. That might be making more money. That might be giving more to your family and your community. Whatever it might be, spend your time doing those things.
Sure.
Because like I said earlier on, it's about completing yourself and going out and being complete, bringing all of your world together so that you can then share your completeness with another person.
Sure.
And then you'll win the love of other people. This process will be continuous, for there is no limit to the soul's possibility of development.
What's limitless?
Self-development. As in always looking for ways to develop yourself.
Yeah.
Because every time you climb a mountain, you see the next one.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
You
or every
reach
time
peaks and plateaus.
you get to a goal, if you don't find another goal and you've been spending all that time working on a goal, it's like when somebody stops working for the first time they retire or they're between jobs, they get lost because they're like, I'm so used to working and doing this routine or doing something.
Enforced structure in their life.
Having something to do that gives them purpose. That as soon as that's removed, it's like, okay, you know what, I need to do more.
Yeah.
So again, work on something, get to your goal, and then find the next thing.
Yeah.
Keep going because, again, you become more attractive when you've got things to do.
Yeah.
And you're not so tied up and available to the other person and basically, I live for you. I live for you.
Yeah.
No, you don't. But I love the fact that it says there's no limit to the soul's possibility. Because we can do whatever we want, we can have whatever we want, but you've got to put your mind to it and you've got to action it. And you've got to be clear on what you want to be and do and have.
Yeah.
Get out there, enjoy your life, follow your bliss. You will be loved for what you are, not for what you do.
Both.
Again, it's the level of consciousness that you're thinking of.
It's
I'm not going to disagree with you at all there.
And it's the type of love as well.
Again,
Different
I'm
types
not
of
going
love.
to disagree with you either.
Some people love you for what you do. You could save, you could invent something that saves 1 million starving people, and people will love you for it. People will build shrines to you. If you look at, for example, this is a really random but quite recent example of the divers who saved those children who were stuck in the tunnel.
I'm sure we spoke about this in the last podcast.
In the cave, right? And it's like people would be like praying, like just really appreciative, which is beautiful. But it's a different type of love too. The other types of love out
Remember,
there.
we're talking about winning the love of a person. So again, talking about pulling the chair out for the girl to win her love.
In that case,
it's not about pulling the chair out that she loves. It's about the fact that you thought about doing it that she loves.
If I'm
It's
a
context.
if I'm a Grammy-winning artist,
Yeah, you are.
When I'm
Disonda! Yeah, you are.
when I'm a Grammy-winning artist,
At Disonda, it's there.
it's like here.
It's underneath him. SoundCloud, it's there.
So
Follow this guy.
When I'm a Grammy-winning artist, right? It won't be. I don't imagine. I don't want a woman to love me for the albums or the music that I've made. I want her to
Yeah.
love me for who I am.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
rich.
I want her to
I don't want
appreciate.
people to love me
I'm
for my
rich.
right? I want them to love me for who I am. That's why I don't tell
Yeah.
people, oh shit.
Tell people what.
That
Let's continue.
But yeah, that it's a very powerful state quote. And again, it comes from
One more time.
It's a very powerful quote. And it comes from a much higher level of consciousness of when you actually put it into context of doing and are, what you are and what you do.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like I say, yeah, people will love you for what you do, but when you talk about it on a higher level of a much, let's call it a much more pure love. Pure love comes from, I don't care what you do, but I love
That you
everything
enjoy
that you
doing
are,
it, and that
yeah.
it makes you happy, and that's your passion, and you're driven
There you go.
towards it.
There you go.
It's it's like
Beautiful, man. I love you, Chris.
I love you, Chris.
I love you, Chris. I hope Chris watches this.
And one day he'll be like, "What the?"
One day Chris is going to be sitting on the sofa. You'll never see
Just
him
eating
because
like a
we
bag
don't
of
have a camera.
Doritos, just crunching every like.
Chris, can you
15
keep the
seconds.
sound down?
Chris. Shit.
Crisp.
Crisp.
Your family will not love you for the number of things you do for them, but for who you are. I think that's standard, as in when you think about it when you're a baby, they don't love you.
You're speaking really fast. Slow down a little bit.
No,
for
you
me.
need to listen a little bit faster.
Just because you're reading
Your
it, I'm not
family-
absorbing. I'm trying to
Your
process
family
it differently. I'm listening to you.
will not love you for the number of things you do for them,
Yeah.
but for who you are.
Yeah.
And I was saying that when you're a baby,
Yeah.
you don't do nothing for them other than smile and shit in your nappy and cry for food.
But
and,
my
and
smiles were
attention.
golden. I was a Buddha baby, and I did a lot for my
But
family.
you did nothing for them other than bring them happiness and joy and stuff. Just by being there, right?
You did nothing but bring them happiness and joy.
Yeah, but you weren't conscious of that. You weren't conscious of that. Is
But
what
I
I'm
still
saying.
did it.
Right?
I'll take
When you're
credit. I'll take
older-
full credit for that, Mo.
When you're older and now you're like, I don't know,
Yeah,
you're contributing
no,
to the
it's been-
family, you're
yeah,
bringing in
yeah.
income, whatever. You're bringing them grandchildren so they can have that experience as well.
Yeah.
They don't care about those things, as in they love that stuff. But from the start, they brought you into this world because they wanted to have that experience. And then who you became, it's like when
Who you are.
it's like when a parent first discovers that the child is smoking and they hate it, right? But they say, you know what? Unconditional love. Not everyone. Unconditional love. I don't want you to smoke, but you know what? It's your life. They don't stop loving you just because you started smoking.
You're talking from a real white perspective, where you're.
I'm being very general, but I'm
There's
just
a lot of people
yeah,
who would get disowned
I'm just
for
being,
just like. You
yeah.
know.
There's
But
other levels I
get
could
it,
have gone
get
to
it,
there
yeah,
as well.
But
But
you know
I'm
what?
just trying to keep it
but
generic.
we were talking about a sensible and loving couple of parents. We're not talking about.
Or a single. It can be a single parent. The fact is,
or a single parent.
the fact is that they love you for who you are, not what you do.
True, but
If you went out and killed,
I get it,
if
I
you
get
went
it,
out and
I get
killed
it, I get
somebody, your mum's not going to stop loving you because you killed somebody. They will still support you, but they're not going to agree with your actions. But they'll still love you,
Sure.
because of who you are.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I will say is this:
Shots fired.
this is like an alarm in your head when you.
No, it's going on. It's going to edit every time.
Bruh, bruh, bruh.
Squirt.
Yeah. I'll make the point. I understand where you're coming from. Not all parents are like that. And the thing is that there will be people who might be watching this who are like, well, actually, my parents were super f***ed up. How can you say that shit, Andy? How can you generalize that broadly? That's why I'm making that caveat of.
Yeah, no, because the generalization is I'm not talking about everything and everyone.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
yeah.
on a
I'm
standard
not-
level in the concept of
Yeah.
are and do.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
And
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I
But
always
I'm
talk
just
about levels
saying-
of consciousness
I'm saying
as
that
well,
there's
of
a-
how much you know
what
and
I'm
how much you
saying is-
experience
I'm saying there's a
and
lot-
where you are in your perspective of life.
I'm saying there's a lot of people out there who.
Yeah, I'm not denying that they have different experiences.
Who deserve that love that
Yeah.
we can't take for granted, or lack appreciation.
Of course.
And that situation itself is a beautiful thing to have. It's two loving parents or a single loving parent in a
And also, it goes
stable
both ways
household.
as well. It goes both ways, as in you need to love your parents for who they are, not what they do for you as well.
True.
So again, this is why I hate the whole unless if you behave, you're not getting your Christmas presents, white families, all right? Because that is not. I know that is whole controlling you to behave, whatever, but it's not unconditional love. Okay, you know what? Behave yourself, but don't threaten me by taking away my Christmas presents, because it's not a way of. Anyway,
Some childhood trauma coming out there.
everyone gets it. Everyone gets it.
We got told don't misbehave, you're getting beats.
Oh, shame.
Every coloured child knows about that. They know about that.
No, I had a slipper.
They know
I got a
about that.
slipper. I got a slipper.
What, when they're taking away your Christmas presents?
No, I got it anyway. The leather slipper.
Serious?
Yeah, of course.
That's latent for you, isn't it?
Of course.
All the ethnics rubbing off on your fam. Like, your parents like, that's a good idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier.
But again, it's the whole. It goes every way.
Yeah.
So again, don't expect people to love you for who you are if you don't do it back as well. Because
Exactly.
like attracts like.
And,
So you know,
and you know what? I also want to say one thing as well. People expect their parents to be perfect, and they forget the fact that they're human beings and they're fallible, and they're
we're
on their
all
own
imperfect,
journey.
yeah.
And it's like some
and we're
people.
all moving towards completion.
And you know, I think especially when people are young, people are children or teenagers, they really expect their parents to know every single right thing to do, and really be in tune with the child's every emotion. And it's like you have to, in the same way you want to be forgiven, you have to forgive.
Yeah. So the next chapter is called Law of Attraction, which perfectly ties into episode 2. Tune in. Episode 2 of 2Guys1Bottle, nothing else. Yeah, don't watch nothing else. Yeah. In fact, don't watch that. Yeah, because we went out of focus halfway through. I mean, the camera.
I was in focus, so it's still worth watching.
I know. What was that about? Irony.
We're playing that.
And we're closing it.
Let's get going.
Law of Attraction.
Cheer.
Anyone that doesn't know what the Law of Attraction is, seriously, go and watch.
Yeah, just watch episode 2.
Go and watch episode 2 or go Google it because there's plenty of information out there.
But there's a lot of waffle, so if you watch episode 2, we actually filter out a lot and we explain a lot.
You'll love it.
It's context, it's detailed.
The nature of your thoughts draws to you that which you desire in your life in proportion to the power of the emotion attached to that thought. Do you want me to slow down?
That's some wordy bullshit, man. Let me read this shit.
And the consistency and clarity of the thought. So this is what I said to you in the last episode as well.
The nature of your thoughts.
Just read it in your head and I'll talk.
No, because
because I've already said it now to the audience and they've already heard it. Read it in your head.
They can rewind it. I can't rewind this shit.
No, but I'm saying you can say it in your head.
Alright, you speak. Let me read it.
So I said this in the last episode that when it comes to law of attraction and what you're attracting in your life, you're manifesting, etc. What it comes down to are two main elephants.
I've got to start again now. Thank you.
What it comes down to.
What's the two main elephants?
Dumbo and what it comes down to.
What's the other one?
I'm still thinking. I can't.
Apart from Dumbo, there's no other.
I know.
Who's the other
it's
famous
so
elephant?
Hard.
The one from Jungle Book.
It hasn't got a name, does it?
No, it's not. It's nameless. Continue.
What it comes down to.
Two elephants.
Is thoughts and emotions, which is belief and desire. So belief relates to your thoughts. And the more focused you are with your thoughts, as in when you think about one thing and do not have any doubt or you don't meander away from just one idea, one thought, or you can have an idea about a thought and let it go. That's consistency in your thought. And then desire is the emotion attached to that thought. So it's the idea of, okay, how strongly are you emotionally attached to this idea of the desire in your life, the thing that you choose to have. You want to have a positive emotion attached to the thing you desire, the person you desire.
Yeah.
And you want to be focused your thoughts on winning their love in order to help the process of using the law of attraction to manifest the person into your life. Could be a text message, could be a phone call, could be a encounter. But whatever it is at the beginning, step and processes, have you processed it now?
No, I'm listening to you talk.
Man, this is going to be long.
Yeah. You finish your talking, then I'll read it afterwards.
Then there's going to be like a massive thing of silence.
Just cut it.
Go.
All right. Give me like a whole 10 seconds to read this, because it's...
Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful.
Just hold up for like 5 seconds. Let me read this shit. Jam your hype. I can't even. Let me just read it. Your thoughts is... Loving you. The nature of your thoughts draws you to what you design your life, portion of the power of emotion attached to the thought and the consistency and clarity. Yeah, alright, yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Hold it again so you can throw it back to me.
Yeah, alright.
Sure. It makes more sense now, yeah? But we spoke about this in the last episode.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a summary of something we discussed.
It does explain
previously.
the law of attraction pretty much in alignment with what we're talking about as in winning love.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing is act as if you have already won the person of your dreams. So you mentioned this earlier on, like visualizing already having them, and you said it in a way that you almost questioning that idea.
Of what? Visualization?
As in actually believing or feeling already being in the relationship before you have the relationship.
I don't know.
So does that work for you?
I'm trying to think of my real life experiences.
I think everybody in their real life experience, as soon as you see somebody you like, the first thing you start thinking about is what your life would be like if you spent more time with them.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, like, yeah, you just start, you can say fantasizing is a word, but you daydream, you fantasize.
Wow, Dara. You went to that dark place again.
Why is that a dirty word?
Because I know you, bro.
Your mind filled in the blanks and made it dirty. So it's like, yeah, when you meet someone you find incredibly attractive, then you fantasize and you...
Incredibly attractive.
Incredibly attractive. You fantasize and you daydream about, imagine if I was with that person, what would it be like?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think here it's just encouraging you to do it. Or it's reminding people that if you've not done it, actually to start doing it. Because we know that we take this for granted.
Yeah.
Because we've experienced it.
But you don't lock onto it. You don't obsess about it. You kind of have those thoughts, and then you think, okay, I've had those thoughts. It'd be great if that happened, but I'm not any less of a human. I don't have any lack or, there's no absence of something. It would just be a beautiful experience and a beautiful thing to have in my life. But if I don't have it, am I any less me than I was before I met this person? No. And some people, they get really drawn into it, where they meet someone or they see someone and they're like, that's the person I want to spend. They start fantasizing about wedding days and
obsession is a dangerous thing.
Really getting into it. And it's like it's a malady. It's like a mental illness to get that obsessed. It's corrosive to the individual. Like you get like all these weird stalkers and obsessive types, like turning up at the door, doing some really creepy shit.
I know who you are.
He enjoys it, don't stop. And you get all these kind of creepy, weird, stalkerish types, and it's because they basically lock onto the fantasy and they stop receiving reality. They start living in the fantasy because fantasy is more appealing than the reality. So but you need to basically make reality more appealing than anything else.
What are we talking about though? As in, because it feels like you're going to the dark side again. Let's talk about what you should do with this.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying your reality, like if I use myself as an example, right? The things that I do in my life or the things that I choose to bring into my life are more appealing than any fantasy that I can have, because when I'm actually... Isn't
the idea of a fantasy something that is not real?
Yes, it's inherently in there.
Okay, but that's different to visualizing though.
But fantasize and visualize, you can visualize something and then you can fantasize and then you can obsess. It's like there's tiers, there's levels.
That's what I'm saying. So I think visualization is the end point of this process in law of attraction.
If you visualize something,
it's pushing it too far away. Obsession is just dangerous.
Yes, I think you can fantasize about something, but what happens is when you fantasize, the point is that it's fantastical. The reason fantasize is the word that it is.
Yeah, it's because more than it actually is.
It's like it's so much that it's imaginary and it's beyond reach.
Yeah, exactly.
It pushes it out of reach, right?
Yeah.
So when you're fantasizing, it's no longer a fantasy if you have the means or the willpower or the focus to bring it into reality. So if you've got a fantasy, but you realize there's a path you can take to make that real, is it a fantasy? No, it's a visualization.
As long as you go down that path, it's a visualization.
Yes. That's my point, though.
Yeah, I think the fantasy is jumping too far ahead without realizing the steps to get there.
Exactly.
Nice. I'll drink to that. Yeah, you did. Okay. Already upgraded your personality to the ideal personality you require. So again, we covered this earlier on.
Yep.
The act of imagining, again, visualization rather than fantasizing. The act of imagining and visualizing yourself winning love puts that desire into the subconscious mind. And again, we spoke about the difference between the conscious and subconscious mind.
Yeah. And previous podcasts as well, previous episodes of this, we've mentioned it. We've spoken at quite a length.
This is where you can look at the camera. Stop sweating, bruv.
What?
I'm going to have to pixelate that out as well.
Pixelate all you want, baby.
I won't.
Pixelate that too. Oh, shit. What for them?
Stop it.
All right.
The act of imagining and visualizing yourself winning love puts that desire into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious shall create the pathway, word you used, you must take to win love, and then suggest that path to the conscious mind.
Yes, I agree. That's really powerful, because that's not just about love. That's basically your life.
Yeah.
Is that if you can master how to feed things into your subconscious and have your subconscious help with your
support it.
exactly,
Yeah.
and that's where
As
the
in the
power
work
comes
that's being
from.
done when you're not kind of, you could be sleeping or you could be distracted with other things.
Yeah.
Subconscious mind is always working.
Yeah.
But if you put that desire into the process,
Yeah.
already your subconscious is doing its thing.
Exactly. You focus, if you find a way to focus your subconscious on the things that you want in life,
And then let it go.
that's, yeah, exactly.
And then let it go.
Yeah,
Don't
because-
doubt it, don't fear it, just let it go.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's continue.
Speak to them. I'm guessing this is the person you,
Who's them?
I'm guessing it's your object of affection.
How many of them are there?
I think just one.
Speak to them. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm with you.
Dara's Harim. Speak to them in the manner that most appeals to them. This is what I was talking about earlier on about you don't know how somebody necessarily wants to be loved. As in, just because you feel like this is how you should love somebody.
Or like, call me papi.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't mean that that's the way. You know what, yeah? One thing that I'm going to generalize again. I have to say this because every time I feel like I have to be secure here. That would be stupid.
No.
That would be
just
stupid.
Say what you feel, and then I can say my counterpoint, and then we can discuss
No, it's
it.
not about you. It's about them. Yeah. Backlash. Yeah. When you start a let's call it a relationship, or you start seeing somebody and you start to get beyond the friendship.
Yeah.
I think the use of, let's call it a nickname, is actually something that's between you two that only you two know about. And that makes it kind of something special. But yeah, going back to love, you don't know how people want to be loved. So don't expect them to want to be loved the way you choose to love them in the first instance. Learn how they want to be loved first and then love them. And this comes down to speak to them in the manner that most appeals to them. So you've got to learn their vocabulary. You've got to learn how they talk to you. You've got to work out, okay, what's their mannerisms and stuff?
But
What's their perspective?
It's both ways, though.
Of course it's both ways. It's
Because
effort.
you should expect the other person. If
No, don't expect.
Okay, let's take the word expect out of it.
Yeah. Because that hurts, man. That hurts.
Expectations.
She broke my heart.
It's nothing but disappointment.
I'm going home.
Yeah. So it's about compromise. If you're with someone who's worth the time of day,
Yes, she is.
I'm sure she is.
Yes, she
I
is.
believe you, and you'll want to meet each other halfway. If you're willing to make all the compromises and and your partner is making none,
Yeah.
that's a red flag.
Yeah.
You guys should want to compromise on
Yeah, if it's
from
going to
both
work.
sides
Yeah,
to
if
meet
it's
in
going
the
to
middle.
work. Yeah.
You know, the analogy I always think of is building a bridge halfway out to the ocean, and somebody's building a bridge on the other way.
Eurotunnel. Eurotunnel.
Yeah, okay.
France and England.
Yeah, but if you did it from one side to the other, it might be nigh on impossible. But if someone meets
Yeah.
in the middle,
Yeah.
then at
You're
least you've
both
got a
putting in the
connection.
effort and then
yeah.
eventually you're going to meet somewhere.
Yeah.
Black Eyed Peas, Meet Me Halfway.
Yeah, it's a tune.
It's a tune.
Yeah.
Beautiful tune. Not very romantic as in as a tune, but it's the sentiment.
Yeah.
Sentiment is beautiful.
100%.
Every thought, again, still law of attraction, every thought that runs through your mind builds a future reality. Standard law of attraction stuff. Uh-oh.
Gas.
Drink. Ensure that the reality you create is the one where you win love. So again, this is the idea of don't deviate your thoughts. If this is your object of desire, then don't think you're not going to win it. As in, align yourself and say, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to make this happen. And you're going to get setbacks. Stuff is going to come in the way. There might even be another person on her agenda or his agenda that they get with first. But look at, this is really, really random. Look at Kanye and Kim. Kanye West, Kim Kardashian. They met 9 years before they got together. 9 years. And Kim got with many different men in that period of time.
What you saying about Kim, though?
She has
Kanye coming for you, bro.
But it was so
That
funny.
Chicago blood in him. He's gonna.
You know that from the start, he liked her from the start.
Yeah.
He liked her from the start. Now, whatever happened between them, they both had to go away, experience life, and develop themselves before they came to the place where they were ready to meet halfway. And that's how they ended up together. Now they've got kids, now they're married, etc.
Sure.
Beautiful story. As in, not their marriage, but as in the idea that with focus, it doesn't matter what happens, eventually, if you believe it, it's going to happen.
And that marriage.
So you can have
is-
your celebrity if you want.
That marriage is doing so much good for his mental well-being as well. You know, he's really.
I think he was like that anyway without her. I'm
Triggered.
I understand the curse of the Kardashians and stuff, but
Let's not go. Yeah,
I don't think Kanye
Yeah,
is,
let's not
yeah.
go into it. Yeah.
again, ensure the reality you create is the one where you win love. So just focus on, I'm going to win this person's heart. That's it. And then do whatever you can. As in, don't stop and don't.
I don't know.
Go
No.
on.
Sometimes you just go. Do you know what usually happens?
Go on.
You meet the person. You feel this intensity, this rush of emotion.
Uh-huh.
You're like, this is the person. You get the fantasies. Then you tie yourself back down. You're like, okay, This is the one way it could be. You start visualizing law of attraction. How do you want it to be? All right, cool. Then you put it to bed and you give it breathing space. And you
Big
step
point,
away
big
from it
point.
and you say, wait a minute, I want this to work, but if it doesn't work, how do I feel about my life, myself, and everything? And you think, no, wait a minute. Everything I had from before I met this person is still there.
Yeah.
All the good things or bad things in my life. The good things you continue with, and the bad things you need to work on. Because some people think, I've met this new person and I'm going to be whole, I'm going to be complete, I'm going to be I'm going to be an amazing human being. No, it doesn't matter who you're with, all those issues are going to be there. So everything you need to work on is waiting for you, regardless of who you're with. And all those good things that you need to continue doing, it's down to you to maintain, regardless of who you're with. So at the moment you start fantasizing and then you take that breather, you're like, okay, I've put the thoughts in my head that me and this person are going to work out and, you know, it's happening. Then you're like, okay, wait, I need to still refocus back on where I need to be in my life and what I need to be doing.
But let's make a very clear point here based on the book. Best days of your life are yet to come. Let's make a good point here. The book isn't talking about focusing on one person and expecting to win love from that one person. It's saying you're creating the reality where you win love. So again, in relation to what it's saying here, it's saying that, and again, I'm paraphrasing my own thoughts around this. If you focus on, I will win love, it might not be the love of that person, but if you focus on developing yourself, becoming more attractive, making a winning personality of yourself, even if it's not that person, the person that again is like them or similar to them will show up in your life and you will win love. The fact is that if love is something you want to experience, focus on the winning of love, not necessarily the winning of love from one ideal person, because there's not just one ideal person in the world.
I get what you're saying.
I'm saying what the book is. I'm saying the book is not saying one person. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What I'm saying, we have to be careful that we're not saying that the book is saying, oh yeah, you're going to win this person's love if you do this. It's not saying that, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I understand. I get where you're coming from.
Please.
It's bad news. I'm going to say something real quick. I get what this book is doing. A fair amount I agree with. A fair amount I agree with caveats. Some things I disagree with purely because there's not necessarily enough context around it, and we've expanded on it from both.
I think it's more the language that's used than anything for you.
But it's not necessarily like, oh, because the language isn't right, I'm going to shoot it down. I'm just saying, if you take it at face value, how it can be misinterpreted, I will shoot down that misinterpretation. But
again, misinterpretation comes down to language and how you receive the message rather than how it's delivered.
Yeah, exactly. But if there's a context behind that meaning which fills it out and gives people a greater understanding of what's meant by a poorly worded sentence, you know, it's not like I'm just trying to fight with the book. But I will say this: I'm very, very fortunate in my life to have a lot of people in my life who I love very dearly, and who I'm very lucky.
Shout out to your exes.
To my family. To my family.
It's not wood.
Is it not? It looks like wood. You lied to me.
Drink.
I'm going to top you up.
You sang drink.
All right, I'm drinking.
No, drink. You sang.
All right.
That was the rule from the start. Drink it. Finish it off. Then you can pour a drink for both of us.
Oh.
And ice, please.
Let me finish my thought. I'll drink it.
Yeah, drink it first.
I'll drink it. Just chill.
Down it. 2Guys1Bottle. Follow us on Twitter. Not yet.
My point is this: I'm very appreciative and very fortunate of the loved ones I have in my life, and who I have a great deal of love for. I will say this: work on yourself, and do you know what? I feel like the whole book can be summed up by: work on yourself, be the best be someone that younger you would want to be someone that you can be proud to be. If no one's going to be there, no one's going to be at the finish line at the start of the race, but you work your way towards it. You'll never reach perfection. There'll always be imperfections, but you can close that gap to a level where, to other people, you're almost superhuman, but they don't see that level of effort and focus that went into making that a reality. And just work on yourself and show the people who matter to you, show them love. And love is contagious. If you show someone who's important to you in your life, you show them love, you show them affection, you show them care. You could get hit by a car tomorrow and you never told your parents or your best friends or your cousins or your siblings, you never said to them for maybe several weeks, months, years, that you love them. But if you have that genuine ego guard down, egos dropped and thrown to the side. You just say to them, look, hey, you know what? I'm lucky to have you in my life. I love you. They could turn
Appreciation.
yeah, and you're making yourself vulnerable. And the thing is, you don't fear that vulnerability because they can say,
Confidence, alpha
well,
male.
I don't love you as much as you love me. You know, they can really twist it. But at the end of the day, it's like, if someone does that, they're speaking from their own place of insecurity and their own issues which are surfacing. And it's not a reflection on you that, oh, I made myself vulnerable and now they're digging it in my heart. But it's really about just show love and appreciate yourself and work on yourself. Because all love will stem from you working on yourself, appreciating yourself, and being a positive influence on other people's lives. But that positive influence comes with building yourself up into a positive person and seeing the best in yourself before you see the best in other people. So I appreciate what the book's trying to do. I get it. But I think
you hate everything, bro.
I'm just saying that life is simpler than people make it. And I'm not saying I disagree with everything in the book. There's a lot I agree with, but no, but the but is that there is a simpler way to see things.
There's always a simpler way to see things. We spoke about the simplicity.
Work on yourself.
Yeah.
Be the best person you can. Be the best. Strive to be the best. And people slip and people make mistakes. And forgive yourself as well. And love yourself. You're not perfect either. People slip up. But again,
this is exactly the purpose of the book. Is what you're doing, which is it's not the importance of what you read. It's the importance of what you think about what you're reading as you're reading it. That's what it comes down to. So I have a screensaver on my phone, and I can't read it exactly, but it says something along the lines of, "I'm going to show you who I can be, so that I know something, or I can show you."
Can you say it one more time in English, please? One more time.
The thing is, I can't read it because it's behind the apps, right? But it says,
Ravs.
"I'm going to be who I know I can be, so I can show you who I know you can be." Something along those lines.
You need to rehydrate. Have that first. I'll pour the ice.
I really like that kind of terminology or that idea.
Down it.
That
down
I
it,
will deliver to
down
you
it.
so that you can deliver back to me. I will be the shining light. I'll be the guide. I will start the process. Don't put too much in there now because we're coming to the end.
Yeah, you say that.
Okay, so the next statement is, you in love with clarity of vision, aligned emotions, and by thinking and speaking in a certain way. Now, if you read his first books, he always talks about the certain way. And for me, that idea was very ambiguous. And I had to do a lot of other, it says don't read other books, but I had to read a lot of different things to understand what the certain way was. I'm not even going to go into it now. But that statement itself just covers everything we just covered anyway.
Say it again, please.
You in love with clarity of vision, aligned emotions, and by thinking and speaking in a certain way.
And again, you don't start the race at the finish line.
Close the fridge.
I will.
It's in my shot. It's in your shot, sorry. Close the fridge. It's well annoying. Attitude. Attitude.
You don't start.
He don't love the fridge.
That fridge. I mean,
He don't love the
we got
fridge.
history, me and that fridge. You don't start at the finish line, right? So it's like
It's all about the journey.
the clarity and give me that. Let me see this terminology.
Okay, let me get it to the
Go
right
on,
page.
go on. All right. So. Thank you. So the clarity, the aligned emotions,
Which
and
we
the
spoke
thinking
about.
and speaking in a certain way. I just want to say, because when you hear that, it's almost like it implies you need to be at that level constantly. But the problem is not constant, because constant is intimidating. If someone said, you always need to be good, you're like, whoa, that's pressure, right? But if someone said, you always need to try to be good, so it's not constantly, it's consistently. That's the only thing I wanted to say about that. Because if I read that, or if I heard someone said that to me, I feel like someone was judging me. I'd be like, whoa, I'm not always constantly clear in my thoughts. I'm not always clear in my desire. But the fact is that you're consistently trying to strive for that.
Yeah, I'll let you have the trying because it's obviously the quote is said out of context.
No,
It's
not knocking the, but I think it's just a clear expansion of the quote to make.
Yeah.
You know, do you get what I'm
saying?
saying?
You're right. As in,
yeah,
as human beings, we don't stick to one thing. As in, we meander. As in, when I say meander, you can't be happy all the time. As in, you can't be ecstatically happy all the time because you get bored of it, and also you'd lose the value of what it means to be ecstatically
exactly,
happy.
because that becomes your baseline.
Yeah. So we have to kind of go ups and downs, smiles and frowns, in order to experience life. And I wouldn't say trying, I'd rather say doing. But we're doing it on an intermittent basis of doing a little bit and then going away to do other stuff. Because again, you can't focus on one thing all the time anyway. It's impossible. You have to do other stuff in order to live your life.
I've done this for a few hours. Slayer.
Moving on.
I love you, Andy.
You are a creator. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Standard. Go see episode 2 again about being a creator. It might be in there. Okay, this is a couple of lines here that I've highlighted. There are those of us who win love. You are now one of those who wins love. Affirmation, I think. Those who win love take ownership of how they feel. Those who win love see the future with clarity and certainty. Those who win love are non-judgmental and are open to that which is unfolding before them.
Fair enough.
I think that's, again, kind of covered what we've spoken about already.
Yeah, this is like summary kind of quotes. It's a good
the affirmation is nice at the start, though, as in reminding you are now one who wins love. As in, make the choice. If you want to win love, then make the choice that you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And stick to it. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Every moment in your day, every moment in life is you're choosing who you are. You choose who you are.
Choose the powerful law of attraction. Bring gratitude into all circumstances. Again, we spoke about this in Universal Laws, episode 2. Appreciation and gratitude, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Choose the powerful law of attraction, bring gratitude into all circumstances. We spoke about that in the Universal Laws, episode 2.
Yeah, we've covered that stuff, yeah.
Even though, what's the word we prefer to use?
For what?
Gratitude.
Appreciation, baby.
I appreciate you.
You the best.
You loyal.
You smart.
You stupid. And we say use appreciation because gratitude is like, I'm grateful, but it's a feeling of like overcoming something. Whereas when you appreciate something, you just love it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a caveat. Make gratitude, I'm going to change the word. Make appreciation an essential part of every moment of your life, and you will move forward with even greater speed than you once thought possible. And this is what you were saying as well about appreciate your parents, appreciate those around you, etc. And I just appreciate people's decisions because they're not your decisions. It's that whole idea of mind your own business. And that could be literally your own business, or it could just be your life, as in look after yourself, look after your own life. Don't worry about what other people are doing or having or experiencing to some extent.
No, I was going to say sometimes like people's, this is a quite difficult point. And the reason is because sometimes your life is so closely interlinked with someone else, like a parent or a sibling or a child who's going through their own difficulties. And it's very hard to separate yourself from that. And yeah, go for it, man. No, I'm cool. Go for it. And wait, like 3 donuts in. And what the fuck are you doing?
What? This is me being normal.
What the f*** is wrong with you? Why are you attacking that donut?
Can you stop being like Steve and focus?
Hey guys. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I think
So yeah, no.
I can just hear you eating in like 320 kilobytes.
I feel like I need a napkin for my face gone.
I can hear you way too. You're like eating.
ASMR.
Oh.
This is so gonna be part of the opening thing. It'll be cut out of the main episode, but it's gonna go in the main thing.
That's a very Taha thing to do, actually. I'm not going to do that again. I'm pretty sure Taha's done that before. So. Read it again. The point.
I'm over here now.
Alright.
We're so far removed from that point. We're talking about gratitude and appreciation.
And minding your business and like your problems.
Oh, that's
and,
why I
like,
went into it.
So sometimes it's hard to separate yourself from other people around you who are like, you know, parents, siblings, children, because they're so closely interlinked to your life and what they're going through. Sometimes, for example, a family member, when they're going through some messed up stuff, you feel a knock-on impact. It's like if your child is depressed, you feel upset that your child is going through a hard time. And it's hard to separate yourself, you know? But at the same... I don't remember what I was saying, bro. Just continue. That's a really good quote, Andy. Let's continue with the book. I can't remember what I was talking about. You f***ed it up with your donut eating.
We have to do the bucket thing in one episode. We have to.
Dude. Well, this is why the last 2 pages take the longest amount of time.
I just can't imagine you holding the water in for more than 2 seconds. I wouldn't even have to do nothing. Literally, I just have to get my donut, just do this. And you'd be like... We're doing it next episode. I'll get a dead cat from under the table. Dude! You done?
Yes.
Final chapter. The power.
The power.
The power.
One man.
Use love to win love. Yeah. Like attracts like.
Use love to win love.
Like attracts like.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Yeah.
All right.
I'ma use my love to win your love.
You gotta pay for this love, baby. This shit ain't free.
Expensive.
I know, son. Start saving.
It is by stepping into the fullness of who you are that you win love. Again, this is the theme of the whole book.
Yeah, all right. Fair
exactly how you summarized it before we got to the summary.
Yeah.
When you're talking about, develop yourself, focus on yourself. Da, 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 da. Oh, man. That's it.
Cool.
Oh,
I'll drink to that.
No, there's a poem. There's a poem.
Wait, I'll drink to that first.
Yeah.
Just to get through the poem. Let's hear it.
Okay, do you request any kind of accent or can I just do it normally?
Do it normally.
My normal.
As normal as it can get for you.
My
Yeah.
normal. I stay in my haste, I make delays. For what avows this eager pace, I stand amid eternal ways, and what is mine shall know my face. Asleep, awake by night or day, the friends I seek are seeking me. No wind can drive my bark astray, nor change the tide of destiny. Man's got bars! The waters know their own and draw, the brooks that spring in yonder height. So flows the good with equal law, unto the soul of pure delight. The stars come nightly to the sky, the tidal wave unto the sea. No time nor space, nor deep nor high, can keep my own away from me. Oh,
You gay.
oh, oh. No time nor
I
space.
knew there was more.
No,
I was
I'm
waiting
repeating,
for
I'm
it.
repeating.
No, don't repeat
No
it.
time nor space, nor deep nor high, can keep my own away from me. I love that.
Let me read that.
That's
shit.
powerful, man.
I can't take your voice seriously.
I love the part where it says, what is mine shall know my face. It's almost like saying, I accept the fact that when I came here, certain things were meant for me and they will be mine or they will be with me or they'll be part of my experience.
That's some baller Breaking Bad. I am the one who knocks shit. And what is mine shall know my face.
It's almost like a threat, isn't
That's
it?
some ghetto shit right there.
No,
that's
that's
like
hardcore, man. Like, I feel that in my soul, man.
And what is mine? That's a good line.
What is mine shall know my
Yeah,
face.
that's a sick.
That's powerful.
Oh, you know what? It's a lot it's a lot more impactful when you're not reading it.
You gotta pay more attention.
The friends I seek are seeking me.
Again, like attracts like.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere out there, there's someone waiting for a friend like you.
Yeah, they are.
Chit.
On Facebook.
No one can drive my bike or strain.
The interlude.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, it's nice. But this says a lot more than love on a partnership, relationship level.
No, again, I think this is talking about the
And
introduction.
you know this already. You know this already, obviously. And
Are you summarizing?
no, I'm just expanding on it. But the point is that the book, even though it's kind of pitched as how to figure out how to improve your, how to fix your love life or how to find the right partner for you. It's touching on some really important kind of attitudes about yourself and about your own understanding of yourself. It's nice. It's a good book. What I usually do is I'll rip a piece of material, whether it's a book, a movie, a film, a music, whatever. I'll rip it apart, but it's not to detract from it.
It's the roll up and make spliffs.
That's it. I need roach card. It's to you recognize the flaws, but it's not to detract from the beauty of it. And it's what it's setting out to achieve is very admirable, and I like the sentiment of it. And I think there's a lot of truth in it. I think particularly at the beginning where you had certain focus on characteristics or attributes.
Yeah, I like the idea that it actually took you to places that maybe you don't really think about and relate to.
I'm glad you chose that book. I'm glad we went.
I didn't choose the book chose me.
All right, mate. Oh shit! It fell out of the sky and hit you on the head. Oh man, it's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy kind of. I hope that was on camera. I think we should keep that. Do it one more time. I missed it.
Let me read one more statement. I was going to try and get it so they actually felt it looks like I wasn't holding it up there, but it's never going to look like that, is it?
No. Photoshop. Baby.
You shall win the love you desire because it is part of your very reason for existing.
Where's that coming from?
That's the back of the book.
That's the best part of the book. Why is he going to put it at the back of the book for?
To make you read it.
Shit. Let me read that book.
Just the last bit. See the last, right at the bottom.
The Science of Winning Love is your guide. Sell. Have it back.
You shall win the love you desire because it is part of your very reason for existing. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, that was The Science of Winning Love by Kevin L. Michel. You can buy this on Amazon and other good bookstores, Barnes & Noble, etc.
They're not paying us for advertising their book, by the way. So, don't buy it. Buy it.
And again, this is called a guide.
Torrent
so
it.
This isn't the way to do it. This is just a guide. It's one person's perspective, channeled perspective. Even though it says this is the certain way to win the one you love. I love that at the start, but then it says a guide at the back. But anyway, so let's sum it up. So this is about the science of winning love. So in summary, how would you summarize, not necessarily from the book, but from your own experience, how to win love?
The irony is...
Based on our conversation today as well, I think.
If we just open up the field here, so it was an interesting book and there's a lot of value in it. I think, from my own experience and personal opinion, is that love is a byproduct. Love of other people and from other people is a byproduct of you loving yourself and you developing yourself. And I think that the point of the book, it kind of points, it signposts.
I know I'm not the only one.
Shit.
That's going in the start.
Don't keep it in. You. I was going to say something that would really make you edit it, but I'm not going to do it.
When you start losing words, I love it.
The book was good. I enjoyed it. It kind of signposted to particular truths, which really, from my perspective, are at the forefront of it, which is work on yourself. And love is a secondary byproduct. If you love yourself and you learn how to develop yourself and be the best that you can be and push all your boundaries out and just really grow your skill set, everything else falls into place. And people will love you. I've had people ask me, Dara, I want to meet the person of my dreams. I want to meet the person of my dreams. I want to fall in love. I want to be married. I want all this whole happy future. And
Wait, why do people come to you for that?
Because I'm a boss. And they say to me, I want this long-term relationship. I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want this whole family. Whatever they want in their life. And they come to me and they say, I can't find that person who's right for me. And my advice for them...
Muslim.com.
I'm not even Muslim. It'd be Sikh.com. But there isn't a Sikh.com because we're blessed. We do our own thing.
Don't make me look for it.
There ain't a Sikh.com. Anyways, my advice to them is do the things that you love doing. If it's martial arts, if it's dancing, if it's music, follow your own passions and your own hobbies and you'll meet people along the way. Some are going to be friends, some are going to be acquaintances, some people you won't associate with, but you're creating the opportunity for exposure to a lifelong partner you might meet along that road. And the thing is that you're not losing anything by developing yourself. You're just following what's right for you and what you love doing. You don't need someone else to complete you. You do what you love doing, and you'll meet someone along the way. And that's all you need to worry about. But the fact is, you're working on yourself as a first and foremost. And that ties into the book of working your skill set, develop yourself, you become more attractive. Just focus on you and where you want to be and what you want to do and what you want to develop. And everything else will fall into place. But most people put the cart before the horse and they chase the relationship before they themselves are developed. You know? And it's like, how can you have someone in your life who you want to love you when you are still trying to grow and become this person that you want to be? Everyone's in a state of flux. Everyone's always developing and growing. But you know when you're ready for a relationship. And sometimes people aren't ready for a relationship because they haven't resolved all these issues in their life. And they're not ready to have the expectation and the burden of a relationship and someone relying on you. They're not ready for that. And that's why they mess it up, you know? Because they're like, I can barely handle myself as a human being. This other person's pressure is too much responsibility for me. And that's why they buckle. What separates the men from the boys? It's like the men have got themselves...
Pubic hair.
So Andy, what was your takeaway on the book and just generally from our discussion? Like, what's your overall take on it?
So I think everything that you come in contact with is meant for you. Everything that comes to you for a reason, and it's meant for you at that point in time. I'm gonna cut to you now because that's part of the show now.
Okay.
And it has to be that moment in time to develop you further. Now, every person that comes into your life as well has that.
Rob, that light's blinking. Oh no, I'm gonna face rape you. Oh man.
Resolve.
All right, wait. So Andy, what did you make of the podcast? What were your thoughts on the book?
The podcast.
You're like, this is a war now, motherfucker. You try and face rape me.
Every person that comes into your life as well comes into your life at the perfect moment to develop you, whether that turns into a relationship or a friendship or whatever it might be. And they actually make you better, as in...
Sometimes indirectly. Sometimes you don't even realize it's making you better.
Most of the time it's indirectly, but it's like, everybody motivates you in some way. And everybody, even if a person smiles at you in the street, that affects your mood or your emotions or your thoughts on that day. And that changes your entire course of your life. So every single person that comes into your life changes
Wait, slow down. How does someone smiling at you, I already know why, but I want you to expand on it. Someone smiles at you on a random day.
Yep.
How does that change the course of your life?
So it depends on who it is. Okay, so if it's a really pretty girl, you'll be like, talking from a guy's perspective.
You talk from your perspective.
You'll be talking about, you'll be thinking like, oh, okay, maybe she's checking me out. If it was a businessman or whatever, you'll think there's something about me that he's smiling about. Maybe he's having a good day, but he's sending me happy vibes. And that's going to make me feel better. If it's a little baby looking at me smiling, I'll be like, oh. A smile changes. That's why I say to people, if they see a homeless person on the street and you can't give them any money, just give them a smile and say, can't help you today, bro, but listen, have a good day.
A smile is free.
A smile is free. And it changes. It affects people because emotions affect people, period. So it doesn't matter if your relationships work or whatever, as in a lot of people are going to go through one relationship after the other before they find their final destination, the person they're going to marry, spend the rest of their lives with. The point is that when you win love, you will know.
So my question is, why do you have to win love?
Well, you don't lose it, and you don't necessarily create it. You kind of win it. You're winning someone affection. You're winning someone's attention. You're winning someone's heart.
I don't know. Is winning the right word for it?
Okay, you know what? I think it's the feeling that you've won that the term winning is used.
Is winning the right word for it?
Again, I think it's the feeling that you've won is the term of why winning is used. Because it's like when somebody gives you their heart, because again, like say someone could just give you their heart and you're like, oh shit, I want this. Yeah. But that moment when you receive it, you're like, well, yeah. You feel amazing.
Yeah.
So I think it's the feeling of one rather than, like you say, I'm in competition with all these other people, or I'm in a race or some kind of whatever, and then I'm winning this.
Yeah.
I think it's more the feeling of the end result that the terminology comes from. But again, when you win love, exactly how you said, I was thinking about the red flags that we kept on bringing up through the conversation.
Yeah. And then and I appreciate that.
Cutting me off.
That's
a really important moment that I was having with the audience. Just me and you guys, man.
Continue.
Thank you. So you were saying about red flags. You dumb. You're saying about red flags. The moment you spot a red flag and you're certain it's a red flag, call it.
I inhaled alcohol there because I was laughing at you so much.
Bro, I'm trying so hard to make you do this. I want to see it come out of your nostrils. See? It's not just me. Yeah, it's not just me.
Continue, I'm listening.
Red flags are not an issue. They are an indicator. And the moment, can you stop playing with the ice? The moment you see or experience a red flag and you're positive, it's a gut feeling, then call it. Don't stick around and wait for that relationship to happen because it probably won't. In fact, it most likely won't. A red flag is a red flag, period.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
But exactly how you said, I believe the same thing.
Sure.
Just go out there. Just be yourself. Don't care about what other people are thinking about you or doing or having or whatever. Go be yourself. And if you feel like you're feeling somebody, make your intentions clear. And then exactly how you said earlier on as well, give a little and wait for a little to come back.
Yeah.
Give a little more, wait for a little to come back. The red flag is, if you're not getting nothing back, let it go.
Yeah.
And if it's meant for you, it's going to come back at some stage.
Do you know what's really sweet? Do you know that whole kind of hold back just enough and let them overtake you and then meet them and then let them overtake you and meet them? Because if they're really invested in being with you, they're willing to take that risk and make themselves vulnerable to show that, okay, I'm making that little bit of extra effort.
And again, you can do the same thing as well. And so you can overtake at some stage as well.
It works both ways. If both people do it, it goes nowhere.
I love overtaking.
Because it becomes like a Mexican standoff. It becomes a confrontation.
Papi.
You can say ese, puto, anything.
I just can't help myself.
Maricón.
Freudian slip.
But the point is, it's like if you both kind of come to a headbutt of who's going to step forward first, and both of you are waiting the other person to take the risk.
Yeah, that's a foolish game.
Yeah,
it's a foolish game.
You could miss out on some really amazing things.
Don't wait. Don't hesitate.
Yeah, don't play chicken with love, man.
Life's too short, man.
Take a risk. If it backfires,
it's part of the experience. It's part of your learning curve.
You learn from it. You tried, you failed, or the relationship failed, but you learned from the experience.
And don't give up. Don't be guarded. Allow yourself to basically, I don't want to say get hurt, because being hurt is a choice. Again, you're allowing yourself to feel hurt by perceiving something that, oh man, why didn't I do this, or why didn't I get this, whatever.
It's not what happens, it's how you deal with it.
It's how you deal with it.
You get hurt.
It's your perspective of it. But even if you get hurt,
people get hurt, but it's how you deal with the hurt.
Yeah.
You can't stop from being hurt.
And rejection.
You can't stop rejection. You
Guys,
can't stop
rejection,
from being hurt.
girls, rejection is going to happen. It's part of the journey. Allow it.
It's all about how you deal with it.
it.
And life is all about how you deal with it, not what happens to you. It's about how you deal with it. But obviously, there's extreme circumstances. Don't at me. You know.
So, guys, let us know what you think about your formula is, or your sciences of winning love.
And tune in for the next podcast.
Oh, well, he jumped to the end so fast. Next episode hasn't been planned yet. It's coming soon. We out.
Peace.
Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful. La 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 la. That'll be the last 20 seconds.
No.
Yeah,
Cut
as in
that.